sorted out. So just putting the pieces together. I'm Ted Santos. You guys know me. Straight Talk, that talk show made for men by men. And I had a computer crash, and it sort of turned life upside down for me a bit for a little while. And I have a new computer, and it is interesting getting it to do the things that I want it to do. So, as you guys see, we're going to talk about divorce, this whole divorce thing, and what's going on with that, the lessons that are learned from it. And as you see, I'm still sorting some things through. Let's see. Making it all work. So excuse any tardiness on my part. I am piecing it together. What's going on, Legatus? Thanks for joining. I may seem a little bit of off center here, and that is because a new computer. Yeah, we're going to talk about divorce, PJ. New computer, and there were all kinds of requests last second asking me to set things up in Chrome for the blog talk. So at the last second, I didn't know it was going to ask me for that. So I had to do a mad rush. Normally, I'm doing this from a laptop, trying it from my Mac. What's going on, SW? Hey, how you doing? I see you joining me on Instagram. How you doing, Tracy? Not such a pretty topic, except I think there are lots of lessons for people to learn. So you say marriage is temporary and love is conditional. Perhaps that idea of unconditional love, people need to be honest about that, because love is conditional. Think about it. The first thing, what's going on, country boy? What's up? First thing people want in love to make it conditional is, one condition is they expect you to be a human being. So people have all kinds of conditions on love. If you're heterosexual, you want the opposite sex. You don't want to be abused physically or mentally. All these are conditions that people put on. And we pretend as though we have no conditions, and we really do have conditional love. And people will say, well, what do you expect? Well, we should be honest about the conditions that we put on. What's going on, country boy? I see you looking smooth, and I see you looking smooth in your shades, man.
Oh yes, sir. I'm gonna stay G. You know that. Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to this show.
Well, just give me a second. Someone said marriage is like a grenade. Remove the ring and the house is gone. That is funny.
Oh yeah.
That's funny. So just give me a second, fellas. I have a bunch of moving parts here. So I want to do a share screen. So this way I'm not giving you it's not my opinion. I'm going to give you some insight, some honest insight from people who have been through divorce and the things they learned. And some of the things that we'll talk about in terms of divorce, not all of it comes from being in the marriage. A lot of lessons are learned before you marry. And there are some interesting lessons that people say they learn that I have a concern that some of these lessons are being taught to people, and it's often not the best advice. So, and very interesting to see. I was listening to a few women talk, and I don't have the article because my other computer crashed. Like, it's just destroyed. It won't even start. I had some links to a couple of women who were talking about marriage counselors and how most of them are women. And their concern, and this was women talking about it, their concern was that marriage counselors learn to really look at marriage from a woman's perspective. So a lot of the things that they are saying and the things that they are advising oftentimes don't work in a man's best interest. And guys don't always see that in advance. Or it's one of the reasons why men step out or marriage counseling doesn't work. People end up in a divorce anyway. Well, one guy who's going to talk about the advice he has or lessons learned from divorce, he did go to a marriage counselor. So it's going to be interesting to hear his perspective. So I thought it would be good if you could hear someone else's perspective as opposed to me just giving a bunch of opinions. And let's see here. I want to pull up some of these articles. How's everyone doing on this Super Bowl Sunday? You guys good? Am I coming through clearer than normal on this new computer? Just curious about that also. See what I can pull together here. Here we go. Just had so guys, like the video as you come in, and share it. I know people like watching the Super Bowl, and there are all kinds of Super Bowl parties, and you'll have a great time watching the Super Bowl. What's going on, Matthew? How you doing? Thanks for joining. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. You can hear me clear. Super Bowl parties are great fun. And my commitment, guys, is that you can make some life-saving moves and not fall into the same path that over 50% of the people are falling into. So like the video as you come in, smash that like key. Smash it. Smash the thumbs up. Share it. I always appreciate your support. I drop my Cash App and PayPal links in here so that you guys can support me. Any support is always greatly appreciated. And I want to see if we can get the show on the road. Like I said, excuse my bit of a delay I had. I have a new computer and it is They got a little tricky on me with the when I was ready to go live. I had to download Chrome, and I had 3 minutes left to go, so I was a few minutes late and still shuffling some things around. What's going on, Alex? John, Alex. Thanks for joining, Alex. Thanks. So let's see. StreamYard. Here we go. Man, the picture looks clearer on this. Supposedly this camera is some real high quality. Apple they make some great products. Man. So I'm adjusting to a lot of things here. Let's get the likes up, guys. Share the video. And you hate Macintosh. It is a Mac. I am on a Mac, believe it or not. So get the likes up, guys. And I want to share this very interesting story. So I want to do a screen share. That's why I had to move some things around. I want to share the screen so you guys can see I'm not just pulling stuff out of my ass. So okay, here we go. Share the screen. Okay. So this is a article from Fatherly Parenting Magazine. And like Straight Talk, we're going to take this from a man's perspective. And I think you're going to find this interesting. John Michelini, November of 2018. Even if the divorce is amicable, get a lawyer. So here are his words. And he has some pretty interesting advice, good advice, lessons learned. And it sounds like he learned the lesson more than once. So, you know, you're going to have to listen to what he says as a guy who's a repeat offender. And the divorce rate is about 53%. People who get married a second time, their divorce rate is about 64%, 64 or 66%. And those who venture to try for a third marriage, that divorce rate is about 76%. Years ago, I read an article, don't remember where it was, and they were saying that most people who get a divorce, as I just read the statistics, are more likely to divorce again. The people who actually stay in there and work it out, 5 years down the line, they're better off. And in fact, they said they have a much stronger bond after working it out than people who divorce. So you compare people who stay in the marriage, 5 years later, they have a pretty strong bond. Those who marry a second time, they find themselves dealing with the same issues that they were dealing with in their marriage, in their first marriage. So you know the saying, everywhere you go, there you are. And that is the thing that a lot of people haven't come to grips with. Everywhere you go, there you are. So let's see what John had to say. The following story was submitted by a fatherly reader. Opinions expressed, well, they say they don't necessarily agree with the things here, but they thought it was interesting and worthwhile to share John's story. So Here's what he says. What you don't know going into marriage, first, second, or other, is what variables will change and how those changes will affect your life. But as you go through the entire process from wedding day to rough patches to divorce, you learn some things. I'm going to try to highlight the big aha moments I had in both marriages. So this guy has been divorced twice. As you see in the title, I've been divorced twice. Here are 8 lessons I've learned. So this guy is no rookie at divorce. And some of you may say, well, he didn't learn his lesson the first time, so serves him right to be bitten in the ass a second. So he breaks his advice down into his 2 marriages. So in marriage number 1, and this is interesting, and I think a lot of guys have figured this one out and don't get caught in this trap. So he says, we were young. I allowed her beauty and my passion to blind me to some of the issues we had early on. And I think that is, if that's not a major lesson for all men, I mean, that's got to be like lesson number 1. She's beautiful. She has a really hot body. The sex is great. And you get blinded by that. Hey, SW, yeah, let me go through this. It'd be great if you can come in. Let me drop the link for you. Love it if you come in and share what the lessons you learned from marriage. So, and anyone else who's been, even if you're still married, but definitely if you're divorced, I invite you to come on and share with everyone the lessons that you learned from divorce. Let's get the lights up, guys. We want YouTube to catch us, get us in the algorithms so we can bring more people in. Share this with your male friends. They can keep the Super Bowl on and listen to us while the game is being played. So this guy is saying he's divorced twice, marriage number 1. He was young. And he says, I allowed her beauty and my passion to blind me to some of the issues we had early on. We had both just graduated from college, and it felt like the thing to do. I was madly in love, but I didn't know enough about her. I jumped into my first marriage on sexual chemistry and gut instinct. Right? So, you know, how many guys allow that to happen to them? Sexual chemistry. It felt good. And a gut instinct. And he's going to highlight some things that I think are stepped over. And I don't know if this guy actually learned it, but let's go on. I thought if we were this happy now, then we'd be just as happy after getting married. I was wrong. And this is what I learned from our time together. Lesson number 1. And this is a good one. What's going on, Jay? Jared, thanks for joining. Jazz, thanks for joining. So check out what this guy says. He says, weather some storms before you tie the knot. The first unhappy moments actually arrived on our honeymoon. I mean, can you imagine, right? So you're married to this woman. She's beautiful. Sex is great. You had no arguments, slight disagreements, and then bang, on your honeymoon, boom, you have your first unhappy moment. Hey, Ghana, what's going on? He said, I suddenly got a glimpse of an unhappy and angry person, one that didn't expose herself prior. Something, even in those early days of bliss, registered this as a big red flag. So no arguments. And I'm not saying every marriage, every relationship has to be filled with arguments, but it's one of the things that you want to see how they handle themselves. And from a guy's perspective, man or woman, you want to know that. But from a guy, you really want to see how she handles conflict. You guys have heard me make a big deal of the ability to manage conflict. I suddenly got a glimpse of an unhappy and angry person, one that didn't expose herself prior. Something, even in those early days of bliss, registered as a big red flag. See, he thought something was not right, but he ignored it. I'd have been better served had we endured some adversity prior to tying the knot. And my thoughts as a new wife raged at me was, uh-oh, I think I made a mistake. So you guys may have some words for this kind of guy who allowed himself to be in this situation. Blinded by good feelings, great sex, what he called love. How do you so easily blind it? What year was this? This written in 2018, I think. Right, November of 2018. So it's not like this is from 60 years ago. But anyway, lesson 2, things are not working are liable to get worse, not better. You cannot count on the other person changing to please you or simply to make life easier. If you both agree to therapy, you can move the needle a bit. But if one of you is having major emotional issues, no amount of goodwill, good behavior, or good intentions will fix things. If you are waiting for the other person to change, you are in trouble. You guys get that? You're in trouble. If you're depending on her to give you a magical change, I'll do better. Hey, Samuel, I'm going to add you, but let me go through a little bit of this here. If a woman sees you as marriage material, you've been insulted. Okay. Okay. I didn't. Interesting, PJ. Choosing between security and freedom. So lesson 3, this is an interesting one, especially when you see the actual statistics that are out here that we never see in the media. Lesson 3, rage and abusive behavior are never okay. It took me 3 tries to end my first marriage, mostly because I didn't want to be the person who gave up. And this is a lot of guys. Over 70% of divorces are initiated by women, not by the men. They don't want to be the person to give up. But when anger becomes abusive, there is very little left to work on. Therapy was helpful, but you can't go to therapy for the rest of your life. When the counseling ended, so did the positive behavior modifications. Ouch. Now, I'm sure, look, there are always 3 sides to the story. There's his side, her side, and what actually happened. So we're getting his perspective and the lessons he learned, though. So then this guy, after that happened, he decides, well, I learned my lesson and I'll try it again. So marriage number 2. I recoiled from my divorce for a while. I stayed out of the dating game for a year or so while I tried to recollect my own sinner insanity. But I wouldn't say I was healed when I ran into my second wife at a local coffee shop. Now, this is interesting. So, and there are probably a lot of people who get caught with this one. We had gone to high school together, so we had an immediate connection. And from the initial reaction to seeing me, we both had some interest in exploring the possibilities. So that's how his marriage began. So he learned a 4th lesson from his second marriage. Lesson 4, pay attention to early things that don't feel right. There was some initial miscommunication that later turned into a huge problem. But during the early days of my courtship, I was unaware that she not only had a boyfriend, but that she was living with him. So we normally hear about how guys are married or play this game. We never hear about the times when women do this. So she's actually living with a guy in a relationship, living with him, and now being courted by some dude who went to high school with her. I think her secrecy early hurt us later when the issues began to arise. So, so this guy may be actually telling on himself. So I don't know how common he is in his mindset, but it seems like he's not really paying attention to things. And that's a problem by itself. So again, I fell passionately in love with her before any issues came to light. So this guy's got a pattern. So let this be a lesson also. So, the way you think is the way you think. And because of the way you think, you see the world based on the way you think, not always the way things are. And that's for the good or the bad. And even though this guy claims he learned lessons, it seems like he really didn't. And he goes on to say, so again, I fell passionately in love with her before any issues came to light. And when she did tell me about the other guy, I should have run for the hills. So I don't know, what do you call this guy? Thirsty? I mean, how does he stay with a woman after she's been seeing him for a while and living with someone else? Talk about getting played, right? But a month later, when she called to tell me it was over with the other guy, my loneliness and magnetism to our connection caused me to jump right back in. Boom! Jump right into the fire. So, you guys have heard me talk about neurochemistry and how people mistake these neurochemical secretions for love. I've done a video on that. You guys can see that. What's going on, Sean? Thanks for joining. See, a lot of people mistake the good feeling for love. They don't really examine what they've gotten themselves into. They just run with the feeling. And I get the whole thing, be present and in the moment, enjoy the moment. You also want to be intelligent about that. Lesson 5. Any of you who have children, you will understand this. Kids change everything. Aside from forging a new level of commitment, kids change the chemistry of the relationship in a big way. Overnight, there are 200% more things to do. Chores become an issue. Exhaustion becomes an issue. And as you both slip into the overwhelmed state of raising kids, some deeper level of personality comes out. In an overwhelming situation, you're either a happy camper making do or an unhappy camper complaining the whole way. I was generally happy, she wasn't. Interesting. Lesson 6, trust is the foundation of a relationship. So even before I say anything about trust, this guy was seeing a woman who was living with another guy and didn't say anything. I mean, I don't know what that says about this woman's ability to handle things when it's not going her way, but it surely says a lot about her integrity. There seemed to be a lot of trust issues in the second half of our marriage. I was always in the process of doing something wrong or covering up something else I had done wrong. In fact, I'm not even sure I was doing things wrong. but the unhappy camper was certain that her unhappiness was due to me. I don't think another person is responsible for anyone's happiness. And that's I think this is something people really need to get a grip on. No one can make you happy. No one can make you angry, sad, or mad. And people can easily say, oh, that's theoretically, that's great to say, Ted, but no one can get in your head and tell you and force you to think and feel anything. Well, that's what I said, Tracy. There are three sides to every story. There's his side, her side, and what actually happened. And that's, yeah, he's telling us his side. But I think more than anything, what he is communicating is what he learned. And it seems like he's a slow learner. No question. A lot missing here, a lot. No one's responsible for it. He's given his feelings and what he believed he learned. So really good point. Jaguar Penn, thanks for joining. But therapy didn't sort this one out. Once the trust was broken, the repair was difficult and ultimately failed. See, now this guy is headed for a second divorce, and the statistics say second marriages have a higher rate of failure than first, and third has an even higher. So perhaps there were some things that he didn't work out, and I don't know why his first wife was so angry, and it didn't happen until their honeymoon. Like I said, there are definitely three sides to the story. So did he have any responsibility in that? While he's correct, and you cannot make someone happy, nor can you make them angry, there's a lesson in conflict resolution that is extremely important. And perhaps people would be, it would be to their advantage if they had some real formal training in conflict resolution. You guys have heard me say conflict resolution is almost, for the most part, it is about the conflict that you have in yourself. So if you have two people having internal conflict, it's going to be very difficult for them to communicate because they may not even communicate all the internal conflict they're having. So lesson 7, intimacy does reflect a lot about a relationship. And Tracy, you're an attorney, so you have some really good understanding about conflict resolution. But as I'm saying, it's not always knowing the right thing to say, because most of the conflict is with the individual. It's your own internal conflict that's projected onto the other person. So here he talks about the book Love Languages, does a great job of explaining the different ways people feel love. And for sure, my second wife and I had very different love languages, but there's balance, even if your languages are on the opposite sides of the spectrum. And when touch is taken out of the equation for any length of time, the entire relationship can begin to change. We are animals, and sex is a base level need. When sex goes, the relationship is soon to follow. It reveals some deep dysfunction. So, I'm not enamored with this whole book called Love Languages. Here's my concern. It puts people in boxes. So once you read the book and say, oh, this is my love language, my predominant, and these are the 3 love languages that mean the most to me, and now I understand your love languages, it can create friction, because if I understand your love language is this, then here's what I do. I now say I understand your love language, and I did these things that supposedly make you happy because I did all the things that your love language says makes you happy. So I don't see the problem. So it can make people irresponsible. And it can also, when you say, well, this is my love language and you didn't do this, therefore I have a right to not be cooperative because you're not fulfilling my love language. Like the whole aspect of being a human being in a relationship is going out the window, because you're so focused on not on building a relationship. You're more focused on the book says I'm supposed to do this for you and you're supposed to do this for me. And it really smothers and stifles the freedom of two people being able to learn more about themselves and learn about you. So I'm really challenged by people believing that just knowing someone's love language is going to resolve the problems in a relationship. I think it gives people an excuse to say, hey, I did my part. I did all the things the book said to do for your love language, but they didn't really address the relationship. They just did what the book said. And that can be a really huge formula for failed relationships. Hey, Sean, it's well, here's the thing. If you say it's like an algorithm, let's say it is, you have to actually create the algorithm. You're not going to get it from a book. And that's the problem when people try to read a book and say, well, the book says I'm supposed to do this. You know, imagine having sex by the book. You know, you're supposed to put your hand here and then do this and put your mouth there. And, you know, it becomes so mechanical that you actually miss out on the human aspect of the relationship. Right, exactly. So there's no responsibility. Yeah, I can see why someone would say people are married. Well, people who get married as virgins have, especially women, have a higher uh, chance of a successful marriage. So I've got to pull out on this laptop. Exactly. Right. I push this button because that's what your love language says. So you're just a computer. I just push that button and I do this. Here's his last lesson. Even in an amicable divorce, you need to get a lawyer. As we parented 50-50, I was certain in the early divorce negotiations that we would end up with a joint custody arrangement. So when the therapist we'd hired to guide us through the process suggested something different, I was upset but didn't stop and fight. So this guy right here may be telling on himself. He may be a guy who really didn't know how to stand up for himself as a man. And when the women wanted to see him stand up, they kept sort of pushing to try and make him stand up. Whether you say put her in check, and I know women may not like to hear those words, but when he didn't create boundaries, they started getting out of control. There are lots of women who will resent men and say, well, you're not really man enough. You don't act like a man. You're letting me do whatever I want. You have no boundaries. And they become resentful and angry, and that creates all kinds of problems. So, you know, he's kind of alluding to that. So, because he expected to parent 50-50, and when the therapist, I'm assuming was a woman, it's an assumption. The therapist crushed that. He was upset and didn't fight. He didn't stand up for himself. And he said, I know today that I was whitewashed into accepting the standard possession order and being the non-custodial parent because it was what my then wife wanted all along. We agreed to cooperate. See, and this is where it doesn't sound like cooperation. It sounds like he compromised. And that's a lesson for him to learn. Or maybe he still didn't, because it's probably the problem he had in both marriages, that he compromised so much and was unhappy about it. And even your significant other can be upset if you always just compromise and never stand up for anything. Women tend to resent men like that. So we agreed to cooperate, but I was handed a non-cooperative ruling right off the bat. In hindsight, I should have stopped the process and lawyered up. But I'm conflict averse. See, these are his words. I'm conflict averse. So he avoids conflict. So he will let things just go on and on and on. And that's a problem. And I listened to the reasonable therapist, Am I in the best interest of the kid's wife? I was railroaded. Maybe not. Maybe he wasn't railroaded. Maybe he's just set up for failure by not having the balls to stand up. This is a problem. So, Sam, let's come in. You've been divorced. Let's hear your thoughts on this matter. And then I want to bring in some people here. You still there, Sam? We'll have to. So let me take a call. Area code 867. I'm sorry, 857. Area code 857. You're live and on the air with Straight Talk. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, Ted. This is Gidget.
Hey, Gidget. Good to hear from you. What's going on?
I saw the topic and I was like, let me call. Because I've been divorced myself and, you know, so I'm just here to learn. Not to really say much maybe, but I was interested in, just before I forget, I'm interested in hearing the other two talks that you did about the falling in love or something like that. The neuro.
Oh, the how the neurochemicals. Yeah. I don't remember what shows.
If you can share those on your Straight Talk.
Wait, say that again.
If you can share that on your Straight Talk.
Oh, in the
or
group?
I don't know.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Okay, I'll find those.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I know
Whenever,
I did a much longer video I put on Patreon, but I put a shorter version on YouTube, and I'll find that and I'll post it in there.
Oh,
yeah, I'll do that.
It's interesting. That's an article that you're reading, right? Obviously.
It was. Yes, it was.
Yeah, I'm hearing some of the.
Can you hear me?
Wait, hold on, Sam.
Hello.
Hey, I hear you, Sam. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Hold on, Sam.
All right. Can you hear Sam?
Yeah.
Hey, Gidget, keep going.
No, I agree. And
Yes.
I'm learning from what he shared.
I hear the lady talking. Is she talking?
I know I was young. I was 24 when I got married. And I didn't know any better. But I think that's one of the major ones. We were young, and he had his own agenda, and I had my own thinking. It wasn't so much an agenda besides, building together. But other than that, yeah, the compatibility is key, or, I guess. But I don't even know, because some of the points is like, wow, that really happened. So I don't know. I don't know what is the solution then.
So what lessons?
Because he's just.
What lessons did you learn?
Huh?
What lessons did you learn from divorce?
It can be amicable. We didn't have a lawyer.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest. It was amicable, but that's because I was already healed. Maybe I wasn't. I didn't go as a scorned, woman.
So wait. Let me ask you. Does that mean you had already disengaged from the relationship well before the divorce?
Yeah.
Before.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah. So I left him in 2009. We didn't get a divorce until like 2017 or 2018. It's been 2 years now, 2 or 3 years now.
Okay.
And we actually went to lunch after. He paid, but that's a different story. But we're really good friends. He's actually in DR right now with my son, and I'm taking care of their fishes. So that's how friendly we are right now, and
Okay.
and cool. But so I won't let the fishes die. But it can be when the woman is healed. Um,
What did you
or,
learn?
or, or
Like
both of you, hopefully,
for as
hopefully both of you are healed, and you guys are in a better place, mind frame.
what
But I
lessons?
am thankful.
Let me ask you, what lesson did you learn from divorce?
The lessons, I mean, the divorce, that if you healing is key. Um, don't I think I learned more about getting married. I don't know, the divorce was, I was already divorced. My mind was already divorced, so I don't know what lessons. I would have to
No,
really
no,
look
no, no,
into
no,
it.
no, no. Any
But I
lesson,
think,
any lesson you
huh?
learned, any lesson you learned. So what lessons you learned about marriage? What did you learn?
Okay. You really got to know who you are.
Okay.
You got to deal with whatever childhood trauma you dealt with. You have, confront whatever. A lot of the problems we have in relationships is from childhood. Because remember, we're by ourselves. We've been so alone, and nobody has ever told us no. Especially as females, as women. When we turn into women, nobody ever tells us, "No, you did this wrong." You know what I mean?
No, no. I
Um,
listen. I
so,
understand the words. What do you really mean by that?
um, I don't know, Ted. I guess. Okay, I don't
Don't
want
you?
to
No,
talk too
no.
long,
Don't you?
obviously,
Don't you
but
back down. Don't you back
maybe,
down now.
like I said, because you're putting me in a spot, so I'm like, I don't know, but I'm willing to talk, obviously.
Perfect. Perfect.
But
Perfect.
basically, definitely one is nobody told us what was wrong with us. You know what I mean? As women, um,
What
as a woman,
exactly?
I know. So like, there's certain things that I shouldn't have done. You know
Like
what I mean? I should have listened. Listening, let's say, first of all, right? Listening is key. Let's say that one. Listening is key.
so. Wait a second. Are you saying?
Being hard headed.
Okay, keep going. Let me be quiet. Keep going.
Shut up. Keep going. Yeah, just the listening and just being in our emotion and not being logical. And I've always said this. This is the same thing that I've always said. There's nothing really um new. The listening is key, and yeah, and the punishment. A lot of people didn't get punished. We were allowed to just play it cute. You know, um,
Hold on.
for
Hey,
me,
Sam, turn your volume down, Sam. You've got a lot of background noise going on.
I'm gonna tell you something for me, and I don't know if it's an excuse, and I hope it's not an excuse. And I'm not using that as an excuse, but I'm just explaining to you guys because sometimes when you see the overall picture, we're able to understand the person. You know what I mean? And I'm the baby out of seven, right? But we're like 11 years apart, me and the other last one, because that was a mistake. But, you know, and so nobody wanted to deal with me. You know what I mean? Everyone was just like, whatever. So that's the thing, like making sure. So like I said, it stems from childhood. If I'm thankful I have my two parents, but they were old. My father was 47, my mom was 42. They were like, yo, I'm done. But making sure, I think my lesson is making sure that if we bring in children, making sure that we help them confront so that they won't have to deal with the bullshit that they have to deal with when they get older.
So
So like I said, I think it stems from childhood, um, depending whether the parents were able to cater to that one child or that seventh child. But it's key. It's key. It stems from us as adults and how we bring our children up.
So let me ask you this question. So I hear you saying about not being corrected as a little girl. So if I put it in my words, are you saying that there were no consequences for you when you were a little girl being raised? So you could do whatever you did. No one ever said, "Hey, don't do that," and there were no consequences. So because you grew up that way, well, let me finish. Because you grew up that way, when you get into a relationship, you expect the man to respond to you the same way your parents did, which is to say nothing.
Right.
And you should be allowed to do whatever you want to do, and there are no consequences. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and no, to a certain extent, obviously. I mean, they will tell me, there's certain things that they were able to tell me no, and I was just like, okay. Or then, because I came to America, right? So then coming to America was on some, okay, you tell me no, then I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to do me. You see? But that wasn't a correction. That was still not a correction.
Okay.
So I had so like I said, nobody ever confronted me and told me, hey, Gidget, what you're doing is not right. Or, maybe you shouldn't be in this relationship, Gidget, even though my mom was the only one, but I thought she was a bitch. I thought she was being a bitch, but she wasn't, you know what I mean? To a certain extent. And, what's interesting, can I share this little part with you?
Sure.
And I can get off. I asked her, because like I said, it stems from childhood. So I had a liquid, so I don't drink, right? I don't drink at all. So I had a little liquid courage months ago. Mind you, my mom is 80. And I always felt like she was a narcissist and whatever, and, life and, whatever. Anyways, our own drama. But anyways, I asked her if I was ever a burden to her. Imagine somebody asking you, was I a burden to you?
Right.
And so she said no, that I always felt like that. But it was because they always would tell me, besides the fact that they would tell me no, but they didn't explain why. So I was a very I was emotional, but I was more into the logical part because I was surrounded with so many adults. So I had to kind of grow up fast, but wasn't ready to be grown, right? Because I was still a child.
Okay.
So is that, so it depends. Like I said, it depends on your environment. It depends on how you grow up. So it's a lot of reflection. It's a lot of self-reflection. But the point is that it wasn't until I asked her and I was able to hear her part, because I didn't want her, I think at the end of the day, I didn't want her thinking that I was ever mad at her or I hated her. And I wanted to hear it from the horse's mouth. I wanted to hear from the horse's mouth. I wanted to know if that was my feeling.
Hold on, I get that. So one of the lessons I hear you learned is that consequences are not bad for you or other little girls and women, right? And if a woman, you didn't learn that lesson. Is that what you're saying?
No, I did. I learned the consequences.
Well, let me finish.
For growth.
Let me finish. So that teaching little girls and women consequences helps them better understand boundaries and how far when inappropriate behavior should be stopped. However, if they never understand consequences, they'll never understand inappropriate behavior, and they'll just keep driving down that path. Right? Is that a lesson you learned?
Correct. Yes. Good. Yes.
What did you learn about? So you know you're Latina. You came here at a young age, and it sounds like you married a Latino, correct?
I did, a Dominican man.
So you know, in DR, men have a you know, they in the US they call them machismo, but they have a very different relationship to leading in a relationship. And it sounds like you may not have, because you didn't understand consequences and boundaries, it sounds like you probably were not open to him leading. You wanted to be a feminist woman from the US, and you wore the pants.
Yes.
So what did you learn about that then?
That's a no-no. That's a big no-no. I learned that I needed to not push him and place demands and allow him to be a man.
How could you ever stop a man from being a man? I don't understand that.
Well, that's the thing. He didn't have. Anyways, just a mentality. Maybe not, like I said, not emasculating him, but in a sense of like doing too much. I felt like I was always there without allowing him to just, as a man who wasn't in American and had to figure it out on his own. I felt like, I needed to be there without allowing him
Did you criticize him a lot? Honestly.
I don't know if I criticized him. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know.
Did you always?
I don't know. But I feel like.
Did you tell him what to do? Did you tell him what to do?
I pushed him. Huh?
Did you tell him what to do?
I felt like I tried. Maybe I tried, or my expectations. The expectations.
No,
I felt like my expectations were way too high.
Okay.
So and not realizing,
at some point you let him know he wasn't. You let him know he wasn't good enough, right? And that's why I was asking about being critical. So somehow he figured out he wasn't good enough for you, right?
Or maybe I wasn't good enough for him either.
I don't know. Maybe that's often the problem in most relationships, that people project that onto one another. So hold right there.
Yeah.
Just time out right there. Samuel, I want to hear your thoughts.
Good evening. Do we have a lag on the
Maybe, but it seems like you're a little better now.
Oh, I want to be perfect, but I'm not. I'm still haven't figured out how to get to that point with this called in thing. Okay, good evening.
Good evening.
All righty. Well, my issue was green. In my 20s, I'm just keeping it real. I was green. Okay. That's why I personally feel that most men should not get married until they're at least 40, because by then your mind state is on a whole nother level. But I believe in words, and words happen, and as a man, you do and mean what you say. I had never allowed myself to get into a serious relationship, so when I did, I took it as that serious. No games, two adults coming together to do what they're supposed to do. But as I got older, I realized the game never stops. And tries to do the right thing. You green, going by what you heard and saw, what you're supposed to do and all that. So that's all you know. So you try to do that. But at the same time, I'm just going to speak frankly, the women ain't on that level. It's like the game never starts with them. They always looking, doing things, violating, making it was just to a point, it was just ridiculous. But because I was green, I was ignoring it, saying, hey, it's just how women are. That's just their nature. But once again, I realized it's still a game. Even though you're so-called serious with one another, somebody's always going to play games. I didn't recognize the power thing then as far as what was expected should have did as a man. Because once again, you have to go through it and learn from it.
So wait,
But it's like,
let me ask you something, Samuel. So are you saying, because I'm hearing a little bit of a pattern of what Gidget was saying. So she was playing games, and I'm hearing also a pattern from the article I just read. So you never checked the game plan. You never put that in check, did you?
well, the thing about it, I had never allowed my. I'm sorry. I
No,
see you talking. Go ahead.
did you ever check her in playing games?
That's just the thing because once again, I allowed myself in a serious relationship. I tried to be civilized. So a lot of things I would do in the other situation, I didn't do in this one because you're level-headed. I saw the red flags, but I tried to handle it in a respectable, mature way. But once again, I was green. I didn't know any better when it came to serious relationships.
No,
So I
no.
pretty much gave my all in what I was felt I was supposed to, which is what was taught to do by society. And of course, you see it happen. But it's like, I'm trying the right way to put this, but it's like the game never stops. You do what you're supposed to do, thinking that when a person says something, they make a vow to something, that's what they're gonna live by. You ignore red flags because you're young, you're ignorant, and you just say, I'm gonna go and try to make it work. But the thing about it, the one who cares the least in a relationship or plays the most games is the one who controls it. I wasn't playing in the games, I was straightforward, I was to the point, and I ignored my common sense and my nature of female nature because I had made a vow and I made a promise. I thought games were out the window, but once again, it never stops. You know, I've talked to numerous women who were engaged or whatever, and I've had coaches who were married, and I noticed that in these marriages, when I would meet their wives, the wives were always very manipulative. They always had something about them that showed disdain, especially when the gentleman had company or when they saw me, or it just seemed so phony. And I realized women just want the title of wife. They don't want the rest of the stuff. They just want the title.
Okay.
But they don't want to do what all comes with that title. I don't feel I should have to tell you by us being two adults. I assume that you would know. But once again,
That sounds like a valuable lesson. And hey, Alex, thank you for the super chat. A little late, but Gidget in the house. Yes, thank you for the super chat, Alex. So it sounds like one of the things you're saying is that when you saw the red flag, you didn't address it, right? Almost like you thought they would just correct themselves. Like, getting married is some panacea and that's going to solve everything. Like you're giving her the ultimate commitment. So there was no need to do anything.
I didn't want to treat her like I would treat an average broad because
No, I understand. I understand that, but I'm just trying to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. So
yeah, I ignored all of this stuff. I was outraged. I'm
no,
thinking
but
because I'm
here's what I'm doing. I'm saying it in my words, and I'm really I want to know are we saying the same thing?
yes, I agree with you.
Okay, that's a challenge when and seeing the article I read at the end, his number 8. That's what it sounds like. One of the patterns could be for a lot of men is not checking your woman, your fiance, your wife. But
Yeah, because I was trying to I was trying to be respectable, and I tried to handle stuff in a civilized manner. I get upset and angered.
But see, you don't have to be angry to check a woman, and I think maybe that's for some men. They think checking a woman means you have to be angry. It's just
Oh,
like
I get it. I get it. But you got to keep in mind, I was a man of age, but I wasn't a man mentally.
Okay.
That's why I say as I got older,
But
certain
hey,
things.
Sam, do you understand
Mhm.
why I'm accentuating this? Do you understand why I'm asking you this and making a big point? Do you understand why I'm making a big deal of it?
Oh yes, I mean I totally agree with you. I totally
So
agree with you. But at that time,
it's
go
a
ahead. Make sure I understand where you come from. I'll tell you what.
but
Go
see,
ahead so I can be sure that I fully understand.
so it's a lesson for all men. I don't want to just step over it, right? So I'm seeing a pattern. I read an article where the guy he made it when you listen to everything he said, it sounds like he didn't create any boundaries. He didn't put her in check when he saw certain things, and he just let things happen. And and now we're listening to Gidget, who said the same thing. She grew up without consequences. She was told no, then she'd find a way around it. And so, if as a man and in a you know cooperation is the ultimate thing you want in a relationship. And I understand people talk about a man leading in a relationship. And if the woman has that mindset that a man is going to be the breadwinner and the intellectual, he's intellectually smarter, he's physically stronger, so he's the leader in our marriage, and the woman wants to have input. But if the man is, as a leader, if you're not correcting behavior that is inappropriate for the relationship, then how does the woman know that she should correct herself? If she's never, as Gidget was saying, she was never corrected as a little girl, there were no consequences, they're going to bring that same mindset. So it sounds like you saw the same thing. So I'm making a big deal of that because that seems to be a major issue for men in
Well,
marriage.
yes, you're right. You're right in that aspect. But my issue was, sorry, I see your lips moving on the screen, but I'm not really hearing anything. I don't want to overtalk you.
No, no, you're cool. There's a lag time. Don't worry about the screen.
Okay.
It's
Well,
the lag.
my issue was I went against my comments. I went against what I would normally do because I was saying, okay, I gave 100%. I'm giving. I made it. We're gonna do this. Be serious. And I thought it was gonna be the same on the other side. But that's why I keep saying the game never stops. And I realized it's a game. In my opinion, most women they just want the type of wife. Like I said, most dudes I see who are married, their wives are on a whole different level. And I can look at them and tell something's not right. When I've had been taught to me one on one who knew me back in my younger days, they would tell certain things about their personal life, their fiance or whatever. And I realized one day to this beautiful woman, because I always had one on one and talk around people, that these women were asking me to give them a reason not to get married. They were pretty much saying, I don't be with him. I want you to stop me. Saying to myself, wow, she's leaving it up to me to tell her whether or not she should marry this dude and with me. I realized I could actually this woman right now.
So
And
wait,
not just with
so hold it right there. So what lessons did you learn from that? So I want to talk about lessons learned. What can
that's
we?
that I learned is what I observed that these women all had men who cared for them, but they didn't care for him. They literally get married just for the title of wife. That was it,
Okay.
pretty much.
So all right,
And like
pause
go ahead.
right there. Pause right there. So what can men learn from that? How can a man learn the difference? How does he learn to distinguish between the woman who just wants a title and the woman who's committed?
Well, I've said in the past many a times, I know about holding a flame. I didn't know about. I was trying to be that. I was trying to be something that I knew was to a woman, which was I was waiting for someone who actually I feel deserves it. Was being nice, considerate, do what I was supposed to do, and anything that I didn't do for women, I would do for this one, which was pretty much what destroyed it because it was the real women were attracted to him because of what I was doing then is because I had an edge. I was no sense. I would ignore them. I put them in check. I would disregard them. But I stopped doing all of that for this particular person because I didn't want to treat her like I treat everyone else, which is where I made my mistake. Because what attracted her to me in the first place was the fact that she thought and saw an edge in me. I ain't gonna say bad gangster, but she saw I had that edge. But I dropped all of that because I want to bring that into a relationship. I thought we adults and handle things in an adult manner and be honest. But I was the only one who stopped playing games. And I've noticed other so-called wives constantly playing games with their husbands. Because I got to meet some of their husbands. Their husbands were guys. But their wives telling me all their business. Wives flirting with me. And I was like, this not just one woman doing this who's married. It's multiple women.
Before you go down that path, that's
okay. I'm off in that direction, but go ahead.
All right. So there's a lesson to be learned from that. What is it?
Oh, that was the question.
What's the lesson that can be learned from that?
Well, for me, the lesson I learned was just be me fully. Be who I am fully. But I learned that later on.
I understand that. So yes, that's a good one to learn, to be you. Except what does it say about what women expect from men? What's the lesson that's learned?
You'll have to answer that for me. I could go all around the world and I want to go towards the straight path. So I take your point of view on this to hear it.
Oh, I don't. It was your situation, not mine.
Now you said what to be learned. That's why I was saying my lesson that I learned was be myself, no exceptions, and just do me. It's gonna be my way, the way I feel it should be done, or no way.
And what does that say about women's expectations of men?
To stand and be a man. But my wasn't thinking of it that day. I was thinking more like we're just together and it's a give and take.
I understand. What do you understand? You understand the ultimate lesson that you just laid out?
Probably not. That's why I'm asking you to get that for me.
No, you just said it, not me.
Okay. I got well, if I just said it, refresh my memory because I said quite a few things.
You said stand up and be a man.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. But the reason I say this, that's why I feel out of mention I get married young, because at that when we're younger, we don't really do and act and perform and just take control like we should. Like I said, I was green. I was trying to be what they call now a partnership and just do things together, achieve together, and grow together. Oh, 1 second. Echo. Stop. I had to cut the alarm off. But I was trying to grow together and do everything together. I was trying to just get to a certain place together.
You see how you see how that just worked when you spoke to Echo? What did Echo do?
Yeah, because I said I got you. I know what you mean. But see, the thing about it, when I later on started being real me, it was too late. Because the damage had been done. So as time went on, I realized she taking my kindness for whatever, like most women do when I try to be nice to them. But by that point, damage had been done. It was too much, too little, too late. That's why since I got older, I realized mistakes that I had made. But what really upset me as an individual, as a human being, is like, why do we still have to play these damn games? Why do stuff just to see how you gonna react? It's like, I'm like, dang, I thought we was an adult. We're adults. Why are we playing these games?
See, Gidget actually answered that question. If boys are raised to understand consequences, parents are more likely to hit their boys, especially fathers, to say these are consequences when you misbehave, when you're inappropriate. The parents do not do that the same. And I know there are some women who say, well, my father did what I had 2 sisters, and my brother and I could be punished physically or otherwise, sent to our room or something taken away if we did something. If my sister did the same thing, I watched my father hug and kiss her and say she could do no wrong. So if we live in a culture, a country that raises girls that way, and you don't understand that, then Gidget just really answered it by saying she didn't understand the consequences. She didn't have a very good relationship to consequences. So
I
she,
get it now.
she didn't
I get
understand.
it all.
So if men don't create boundaries, you end up in a situation where there's going to be constant conflict because she doesn't know where the boundaries are.
That's what I'm saying. I get it all now. I understand that at this point in my life, as I got older, now I have no issues. The only time I have an issue, and I realized throughout my life, is when I was being nice and considerate. When I was trying to treat them as my woman versus how I would treat a typical broad. When I was trying to do what I thought I was supposed to do. But at this point, I don't have any issues because it came with age and my realization of observation and experience of what I have to do, which is basically just be me. Instead of trying to be and cater and accommodate to keep the people move forward together, I realized I just have to be me and I have no problems.
Okay.
But at
So
the time, I wasn't aware of that.
I got it. So I'm going to leave you with those are great last words. Being yourself and making it clear the things that you won't accept and the things that you expect. Right? So a lot of guys are afraid to say those words. They've been taught that a woman could cut sex from you. So in order to avoid disrupting your intimate life, you just say nothing and just let anything happen. And I'm not saying that's exactly what you were doing, but a lot of guys don't want to
No,
rock.
I let a lot of slide that I normally wouldn't. But only reason I did it, like I said, because I had so-called ordered myself to this person that I was going to treat her differently than I treated everyone else.
Yeah, you said that. I understand that clear as a bell. Hold 1 second, Samuel. Gidget, you still there? You still there, Gidget?
Yes, I am.
What
Yes.
are your, just quickly, like in 60 seconds, what are your thoughts on what he just said?
Okay, so wait. I guess my mind was more on what you said, Ted. Sorry. My bad.
It's all right.
Because remember
if you
how
don't
you
have any
mentioned how,
thoughts, if you
I'm
don't have
sorry.
any thoughts,
I wasn't. I'm gonna be honest. I wasn't really. Like I said, my mind was more on what I wanted to say. Sorry. What can you just repeat? Just summarize what you said.
Well, he was being a nice guy to his wife and treated her.
Yeah, no, you can't. No, you can't be nice. No, you can't. Have you ever heard of this? We women look for our fathers in you men.
Of course.
That's. I think that's real. We women, we look for our fathers in you guys. It maybe not so much fathers, but maybe some of the features,
right,
that our dads have. We look to have that in you guys, and definitely understanding and saying no to us is key.
Good enough. That's perfect. That's enough. Thank you.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Can I say one part?
Sure. What's that?
Because I know we women, yes, we women, children, daughters need their fathers. But one thing that the mothers need to do with their sons is teach them about women's behaviors.
What do you mean by that?
And that's I think a lot of us as moms, and I'm correct in that, but we need to tell them, when a woman doesn't hear you, that's a problem. When she doesn't respect you, that's a problem. So those are things that a woman needs to be teaching their sons.
Fair enough. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I gotta say.
All right. Thank you. Kendrick, what are your thoughts about this conversation? Area code
I'm
870.
sitting back.
Yep.
I'm sitting back absorbing to you, 'cause like I say, if you got some boys in the house, and like she was just saying, and that woman don't want to listen to that boy, that's bad. That's bad for him trying to find a wife for the kid.
Okay.
I know that firsthand.
Hold on, Kendrick. I want to bring in area code 310. 310, you're live and on the air with Straight Talk. What's your name and where you calling from? 310. You must have us on mute. And
Hey, what's up, Ted? It's Red.
hey, what's going on, Reg?
What's up?
Yeah, man, I wanted to dig into this topic when I saw something about what did you learn from divorce, right?
Right.
Well, I don't know, got kind of sidetracked with Gidget. I didn't get a lot of Gidget stuff going on. That female logic kind of is very confusing to me.
Okay.
The guy Samuel, I can identify with him, what he's saying.
Okay.
But when you say what I learned from divorce, when you say what I learned from divorce, and I was never married, but I was in a custody battle.
Okay.
So
I missed you, Reggie.
huh? What's
I
that again?
missed you, Reggie.
Oh, yeah. I've been sitting back up in the kids just monitoring stuff from afar.
She
But
said
how you doing, Gidget?
She said she missed you, Reggie.
I know. Controversial, hard hat original. Yeah, that's me. So, what I learned from my experience with the family court and the marriage or divorce, what you want to call it is it's a scam, it's a racket. I don't recommend it for any brother that got it going on. Unfortunately, the best way to raise children is in a family setting. So that's a problem. But I learned that for a man, it's not for you, it's against you. You can win. It's just how much you willing to pay, because it's a racket. So you're gonna have to pay. So that's what that's all about. So when you get down there and you find out that your kids don't belong to you, and if you were getting a divorce, your wife never belonged to you. All of that, both of those are state-owned entities or properties, and you're just the guy that gets the fucking deal. So that's what I learned. I learned that it was a scam. The lawyers, the judge, it's all it's a big setup, and they make money off of it,
Okay.
off of your misery now. So what a lot of guys don't seem to understand is whoever's the breadwinner, more or less, or has more to lose, or had the assets, or put in investments or whatever, in the end, you're going to be the one to lose. Okay. And 92% out of the time, it's usually the man. Because a woman is a lot smarter than a dude when it comes to this game. That's why they say they always try to marry up. You know. So when the shit hits the fan, she don't have to take the L. So and then the guy Samuel, I just want to talk about him. What he was saying is he's correct. You don't pedestalize no woman. That's basically what he was saying. When he tried to be nice, be the guy his mother raised him to be. He was gonna get the short end of the stick. You don't pedestalize the pussy. Because once you pedestalize the pussy dries up.
Well, so then
And
you're saying that's
another
not
problem.
what women want from a man then.
That's not what they want. Oh, and that guy, wait a minute, and that guy again, when a woman tells you you marry material, that's a bad thing. She tells you you are an asshole, she can't stand your fucking ass and all that, that's a good thing. That pussy wet, she ready to go.
All right.
Problem is though,
He's married material, he's stable, this and that. That you don't want to hear that. You straight resources.
and that's a problem for me.
No, that's just my observation. No, I don't. I really don't know what to tell you because, men, for some reason, biologically, a lot of men like having a family, having his kids and stuff, and they're like that, and that's that traditional way of thinking. I don't know if that's really programming, or if I don't really know if it's biologically driven. But
Every man won't keep it.
you need, yeah. But your kids is a weapon to exploit your ass with. The system designed that shit. They found out how to make that shit work, and then female nature fed into the shit. And they just, you know what it is? Let me tell you what it is. It's an act. What the system is an octopus. And when they're ready to add another tentacle to the octopus, they add that shit and get you caught up in it. They're making the rules. You have no power in that game. If you want power in a relationship, you need to be single. You need to be a bachelor. So,
Hey, Ted.
I mean, I couldn't, in my mindset, in the way that I am, I couldn't be Reginald Harden, committed, legal binding contract, even living with a woman. I couldn't be who I am. So she'd have to take me. I tell her off the rip, this is the game. This is how it flows. Either you with it or not. If you like me, you like me. You ain't gonna like me under certain conditions. That means you really don't. You're looking for something. It's cut or dry. Cut or dry.
All right.
Hey, Ted.
Sam, go ahead, Sam.
You know what else I realized though as I got older? I think it was okay. I was used to just pretty much being submissive, doing what I wanted them to do, giving me no problems. And to the point where I just got spoiled. But when I came across someone, because like I said, I only deal with beautiful women. And when I came across someone who actually was different than what I was accustomed to, I think because of my ignorance, that kind of interested me. Because I was used to pretty much having no opposition, pretty much what I say, no questions asked. And I took that for granted because it was the standard for me. So when I came across someone who wasn't like that, not saying she was defiant, but the red flags here, and even though my common sense hadn't kicked in yet, I think that was my issue because it was new to me. Knowing now, I wouldn't have did it. I think that's one of the reasons also because I was used to a certain reception from women that when I got with met one who who was different, it interested me. I felt that she had heart or whatever. What I see now is being issues. At the time, I didn't see it as issues. I think, like I say, as I learned and lived, I got more experience mentally that I wouldn't tolerate now that I tolerated then. It was just new to me. Once I can't really explain it. I don't know if I call it in nature, but it was just something different. And that's kind of what caught my interest. But I didn't know when to cut it off before it got to a certain point.
Okay.
If that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, it does. Or you didn't know how to put boundaries on it. Almost like you were infatuated with something that was new.
But like I said, I learned a lesson. If you don't go through, you never learn. Because it's not a man out here who just hasn't had any downfalls, whatever, because we have to learn from falling.
Well, so we're part of the reason we're doing this show, so people can learn and not have to go through all of it, right?
That's exactly right, T.
So that's why we're talking. All right, both men and women
That's
learn
very
lessons from divorce, and there's some common ground for both of them. Here's a guy who has Psy Indes. This guy lays out 7 things that he learned. His number one is interesting. He said, "No good marriage ends in a divorce. The fact is that despite how much you may have wanted a perfect relationship and fairy tale marriage, it didn't happen. There may be numerous unforeseen situations that cause the demise of your marriage: job loss, family illness or death, personal health issues, or whatever. But the sad truth is the marriage just didn't survive. That means that one or both of you were not sufficiently committed to making it work. If it was your ex-spouse who ended the marriage, then this means he or she was not right for you. As upsetting as it is, if you would have done more to make your marriage work, but your ex-spouse did not, this means they weren't right for you because their values did not match yours. One day you will meet someone whose values do." So that I wanted to deal with, right? So I think that is a great lesson from divorce, is understanding compatibility. And I think people try to skip over that just by looking at what we have in common.
You know, no fault divorce is a part of the tentacles that they added at one point, just like a bunch of other stuff.
No,
So
Reg, I understand.
I was just making the point.
I
I
understand
was making
that,
the
Reg,
point.
but what I'm talking
long-
about is the choice of it. If you're going to get married, this guy is talking about your choice, right? Choosing someone who's not compatible with you is where you're going. You have a problem. I assume I didn't lose anyone. You're still there, Sam, right?
Yes.
Okay, get still there. I don't know if Gidget's still there. So this guy is talking about compatibility. Is what it really, you can, it doesn't matter how many divorce courts and what the laws are. If you just married the wrong person, uh, divorce court is the worst place to find out you married the wrong person. It's too late. All right, Sam,
On that note,
I was just gonna say, Sam, you said guys should wait until they're 40, right? So
yeah, I was just gonna say on that note, what's your opinion? Because I know my mistake. A man, in my opinion, is not mentally on point. He reaches close to 40. What's your opinion on men getting married young? Because the thing about it, a lot of men want families, they want children, but you don't want to be a baby daddy. You want to do it the right way. So they get married young in order to have a family, but mentally he's not where he needs to be yet because he hasn't been through enough. He hasn't learned the game yet. So it's like a catch-22. Do it the right way, get married young, have a family, children, so you can bash the children, you want to be a baby daddy. But you pay that by like in the mental standpoint. But if you wait till later, true enough, you will be older and your children, you won't get to enjoy your children enough, but you'll have better quality and make better decisions. So what's your opinion on getting married young versus getting married at an older age for a man?
I see the validity in waiting until you're 40. a 40-year-old man can still easily marry a 25-year-old woman. Like, it's easy. You know, he's at a better point career wise, right? So even if you said between 35 and 40, there's some validity to that. At the same time, it's saying something. Like Gidget brought up something important. She said, if mothers would be honest with their sons about women and the things they need to be prepared for, that helps, right? So that may be for a future. Also for a future is this idea of compatibility. You can be 40, you can be 50, and if you don't have a clear enough understanding of yourself, the game itself is less relevant than understanding yourself. So you can understand the game all day long. However, if you don't understand yourself, you'll have no idea what compatibility is for you. And I think we kind of skip that step for a lot of things. For a career, people end up in careers they don't want to be in, just like they end up in marriages they don't want to be in. People end up having children when that's not what they really want. So because people don't invest enough time really understanding themselves, they go down a path of decisions. You know, they go down one hallway of and then they end up opening doors to other decisions, and none of them are really where they want to be. And people just learn to say, well, I'll just make do. But if we can just backtrack and really help people better understand themselves and the things they value in life, and what kind of person is compatible with the things they value in life, right? Like integrity and effective communication, and how well do they manage money, communication skills, you know, how well do you know how to listen, sexual compatibility is important. We almost try to skip that, almost as if we say, well, if you're worried about sex, that makes you shallow, except it's a major reason for divorce, right? So, and I guess, you know, we have Kendrick here. If you were, as a man, to marry, if you're a virgin and want to marry a virgin, it makes it a little bit more difficult to say what you believe sexual compatibility is. You know, it's a shot in the dark for you because you have no idea what your sexual appetite is. It's easy to speak theoretically what you would be like sexually, and I understand the sexual interactions are different with each person, right? So
Let me ask you this then, because you are very wise. I felt that because once again I was still finding myself at a younger age. I knew I was great at. But let's just say at the time I was considered a womanizer, and meaning that I didn't make no one do anything. I was just going by what I felt, what I observed, and what I knew to be true at the time. I've had multiple women at one time. I would tell the woman at her same time. I would get them both. I would have women pick up women. I was just what they would consider womanizers, being myself. But I always said when I get in a serious relationship, I don't want it to be like this. So when I was a womanizer, I had no problems. I had no issues. Everybody was down. All women were down. It's like I couldn't get rid of them. But I said when I get in a serious relationship, I don't want this. So I think that's why I made it, because I thought something was kind of wrong with the way my mentality was, even though it was working. But I said, I don't want this to work for someone that I truly want to be with one on. And I realized I wasn't being myself. I was questioning myself instead of being who I really am. And like I said, that's where I think I made my mistake at, because I said in a serious relationship, I don't want to do this. And that's why I think I really messed up. I stopped being who I was to try to be who I thought I was programmed to be, instead of being who I truly was. Because I would call women whatever, I had no problem. They were submissive. I would treat them whatever, the way that I felt they needed to be treated by how they carried themselves, had no problems. I kind of just went against everything I had been doing that was success to do the exact opposite. So I'm not really surprised that it failed because it was working for a reason. And I don't mean like one instance or two or even 10. It was constant working. Me being young, I realized the gift that I had when everything that I had been doing to do what I thought was the right thing. I mean, it's like crazy. But even at this age here, when I meet women, see when they say I got an attitude, look at the way I dress, look at the way I talk, look at my posture, they're attracted to it because I've come off a bad boy. Now, I don't mean bad as doing stupid shit. I'm just saying it's a bad as far as having that edge, and they're attracted to that. So it's like I started toning myself down instead of embracing who I truly was. And I think that's why I made my biggest mistake.
Any any relationship where you pretend to be something you're not is going to cause problems. And so but that still gets you back to compatibility. Right? So you're pretending to be something you're not, and the person you choose is going to be compatible with the person you're not. You get what I'm saying, right?
I hear you.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. Yes, I meant to continue. I'm listening.
Right.
I get what you're saying. Yes.
Because if you pretend to be something, you're going to find someone who's compatible with you, with who you're pretending to be, and then who you are is going to be. That puts you in conflict with yourself, right? You can see that, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was just saying.
Right. So if you're in constant conflict with yourself, all kinds of things begin to happen.
You know what though? I kind of feel that I was afraid of success when it came to relationships because I had been so successful, but they weren't relationships because I never allowed them to get into a relationship. Every woman who dealt with me, I would drop at a minute. So it's like they tried harder to get me not to drop. So it's like I was pretty much, like I say, on my own toes because I realized my gift was just that. And I was not being appreciative of it. And then everything started to spiral down was when I went against who I really was because I was trying to be civilized and the person that once again I was brainwashed by society to be instead of being who I was. And it pretty much hit me, I paid the price for it.
So wait,
Even now.
you said something that you may have been afraid to have a successful relationship. What do you mean by that?
Well, at the time, I'm bras. I mean, if I can get up snapping my finger just by the way I look, the way I talk to her, because I would see dudes speaking nice, being considered, doing all of, and not getting no.
Look,
okay, that's backtrack.
Yeah, I'm asking you about you, not what other dudes do.
Go ahead.
I want to understand when you say you may have been afraid of a successful relationship. What do you mean by that?
What I mean, they weren't really relationships. It was just broad my life. I wasn't in a relationship with them. I just saw them as pretty much a past for my enjoyment, my way, no way. It wasn't no challenges. It was just, I didn't realize then I was putting it down, and that was what they was attracted to. That's what made them want me, because I just really didn't give a damn. I was pretty much being me. They could take or leave it. I was pretty much making their fantasies come true, having them do stuff they always wanted to do that they wouldn't do with a man they cared for. So like,
what that has to do
it wasn't really a relationship.
Tell me what that has to do with being afraid of a successful relationship.
Because I hadn't been in a relationship as I see a relationship as being. I was having women come and go, having fun with them, even relationships, because of the things. It wasn't really no challenge or the thing they would do. I didn't see them as relationship material, so I wasn't looking at them type of women because, I mean, I'm gonna be professional. I don't want certain words, certain phrases, but I didn't respect them because I knew they was only with me or wanted to be with me because of the way I was treating them. And I've had women do some crazy stuff, and I'm like, I can't be with a broad like this seriously. You know, so that's why I say when I want a relationship, I wanted to be the opposite of that. But I didn't really know the game. Like I said, I was young and didn't really, a lot of stuff I did, I knew what I was good at. But as far as my relationship, I didn't want that type of woman in my relationship.
No,
So I was still trying to pick that.
I understand you wouldn't want that kind of woman. I understand that, but I don't understand the relationship of. I don't understand why you said you may have been afraid of having a successful relationship. That's not clear for me.
Now you got me not clear. I'm trying to think of what the mindset of trying to understand. Afraid of having a successful relationship. I wasn't afraid if that was you're saying. I just didn't really know.
No, you said it. I didn't say it.
No, I'm trying. This one I'm trying to put the words to. I didn't really know because I wasn't never myself to be in a serious relationship. How I was supposed to be when it came to a serious relationship. Should I? Because I didn't want to be myself. Because then I wouldn't take the relationship seriously because she would do what I want her to do in any way. And I'm like, I can't take this seriously because it's like she has no standards. It's just like, well, we say that's what we're going to do, and I didn't want that.
Okay,
So
wait.
it's like,
let me give an interpretation of what you just said. So here's what I hear you not saying: that you chose women who were not relationship material on purpose.
no, I'm not saying. No, they might have been. See, that's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up. I've been relationship material with another dude, but because I was a different type of dude, they would do stuff for me because some of these bras, whatever, they would do stuff for me. They wouldn't do for the who actually cares for them, wants to be in a relationship with them. Get a relationship with that man, but they would deprive him and do stuff for me that they wouldn't do for him.
Hold on, it doesn't matter what the woman does for
No, what I say that I might have been ready for a relationship, but women that I came across who say their relationship mind depends upon the man they was with. They might have won a relationship, but it depends what that man can bring out of them. There'll be one way with me, another way with another man. So I'm like, I know I can't trust this broad because she'll be. If I came to her differently, we could be in a relationship, but she wouldn't be doing the same stuff now that she's doing if I treated her differently. Meaning that she could go either way. So it's like if she's in a relationship with me, how I know ain't no other man out there that she's doing everything for that she's not doing for me.
Hold on.
So it's like I just trust them.
I'm not sure if you're understanding what I'm saying. You chose women who were not relationship material.
Okay.
And you engaged them. You got involved with them. You had some kind of relationship, except you already knew that you could never be in a relationship with them because they were not that quality. They were not the quality relationship.
But see, that's what we disagree at. I'm not saying they weren't relationship material. I'm saying it depends on the dude they're with. They might have been great relationship material for another dude who didn't stay.
Hold on, I need you to understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
We're only talking about you. So if she's
perception.
She's not relationship material, right? If
my perception, yes.
You chose her because you knew she wasn't relationship material. I don't care what someone else.
No, I can't agree with that because it's like this. I would much go out there and challenge myself. It started.
Wait a second. Listen, those women had other men. Were they in good relationships with those men?
Well, see, that's the thing that that's what I'm trying to make.
Yes or no?
I can't say whether they was or wasn't. I'm speaking to a woman's nature. They could be in a relationship with a man.
Wait a second. If they're playing with you, are they in a good relationship with that guy?
No, I get that point. I get that. That's a gift. But what I'm saying is that men have women who they think are relationship women. That's why they with them.
I don't care.
For my
about you. Hold on. I'm only talking about you. I don't care about you.
Okay. I got you. I'm catching on.
I don't give a shit about anyone else. We're talking about you right now. Okay.
I'm catching. Go ahead.
All right. So you chose women who were not relationship material. They already proved that they were in a relationship with another man and playing with you, which disqualifies them for being a quality woman for a quality relationship. Correct?
Yes.
Good. So you continued to choose women who were not quality women for quality relationships.
Now, see, that's different. It wasn't that I chose. Most women I got came to me. Just about all of them, really, because I don't step to her. She got to step to me. But the thing about it,
hold on.
okay.
Hold on. At some point, you had to say yes, correct?
But once I play the little games with them and stuff, and they still go with it, and they still with it, so you know.
I just need you to stay with me. At some point, you said yes to them, correct?
In what way?
Whatever way you allowed them to engage you.
Well,
you said,
at some point, I allowed them to join the team. Yeah.
Hold on. I don't care who went to who. At some point, you said yes to them for something, correct?
Yes, I accepted them. Yes.
And that means you made a choice to say yes, correct?
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. You were choosing women who were not relationship material. Otherwise, you would have told them to kick rocks, right? And you would have had nothing to do with them because you knew they were not relationship.
If I was relationship minded, I would have told them to kick rocks, but I wasn't relationship minded.
Right.
It was just something to do.
You kept choosing women who fit into you, into the lifestyle you created, which was non-relationship. Correct?
But that's what I differ. It was like, I don't think you understand. It was like it didn't matter her status, her look, how beautiful she was, career, whatever. They were all with it.
Okay.
They were all with it. So it was like, isn't it like it didn't matter. They were all with it.
And the fact that they were with it means they were not relationship material, correct?
No, but I'm saying like pretty much anyone who I decide I want to just entertain or play with, or when she stepped up, it was like, when I was younger, find a woman to say no, or who wasn't with it was hard. I mean, it didn't really matter how they mindset or whatever. They were with it because it was something about me. That's what made me like, damn, I can't trust none of these broads because
they were not relationship material, correct?
Not for me, no.
Good. So we understand that. And if they were practicing a lack of integrity, they were not relationship material for anyone. Can you see that?
I hear what you're saying, but they had people they were with. Some of them did.
Who they had? They had no integrity.
From my perception, yes. As far as being with me, yes.
They were dishonest, right? Isn't it? Can't you say they were dishonest with the men?
Exactly. That's why I'm saying I didn't see them as relationship material for me.
Do you understand that people who lack integrity are not good for any kind of relationship? Do you understand that?
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I was talking about that on Friday with somebody.
Good,
I fully agree with that.
So that means they were not relationship material because they lacked integrity. If we just deal with that.
Okay, I got you now. I got you. It took me a minute, but I got you. Okay. My apologies. I caught up with you.
All right. So you were choosing women purposely who were not relationship material. Can you see that?
Yes.
Good. So when you finally did choose someone who you thought was relationship material, it didn't work out, did it?
No, because like I said, I was green when it came to relationships.
Time out. Don't go down that path. I heard that already.
Okay. All right, you help me out here.
So the question is, what I'm asking you to look at, I'm inviting you to look at, and see, this has nothing to do with age. Doesn't matter how old you are. That if you spent a portion of your life choosing women who were not relationship material, and you knew how to function in that arena, that domain of qualified women for relationships, right? You with me so far?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay. That I invite you to look at whether or not you saw yourself as being qualified for a good relationship.
Oh, I knew I was, but I hadn't came across no one who I would want to be in a relationship with seriously. It was just pretty much just fair weather, come and go. I didn't take none of them seriously.
Hold on. Wait, you married someone who you thought was relationship material, correct?
Yes, because she came across as being different than what I was accustomed to and how everybody else acted. So it was intriguing.
Hold
and
on.
once again, because new to me.
Hold on. So I'm asking you to consider that I don't want to give you the answer. So I'm going to ask you to look at something. If you were choosing women who were not relationship material, what does that say about you?
Well, one it says about me, from my perceptions, that they wanted a relationship,
No.
but I don't want one with them.
No. I only want to know what it says about you.
At the time, I was not relationship material because I wasn't looking for that.
Time out. So when you chose women who were not relationship material, you just said at that time you were not relationship material, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So why do you think you would think you were not relationship material?
Because I just had a disdain for the things that they would do, the quickness they would do it for.
I don't care about this. Is not about any. It has nothing to do.
Okay, well, I'm trying to answer it. So, what me not relationship material?
Why do you think you would see yourself that way?
As not being relationship material?
Correct.
Because of my mindset. Like it was like my mindset was they are not to be trusted.
Hold on. See, this has nothing to do with the women.
No, I'm just speaking. I don't really know the exact. I'm just telling you what I feel. I can't say whether it's right or wrong, but that was my mindset. That made me not relationship material because I had no trust in them due to my experiences.
Okay. And you set yourself up to be not relationship material, correct?
That's kind of a broad, right there as far as.
You said it, not me. You said at the time you didn't think you were relationship material, correct?
Mentally, no.
Got it. So mentally, there was a
but
time.
Then that's what was it though?
Mentally, there was a time in your life when you saw yourself as not being relationship material, correct? Is that correct?
Yes, we just agree.
Kendrick, you have to turn your volume. You're getting feedback.
Oh, the feedback is coming from the same phone I'm speaking. I got the TV cut down, but I have to have the phone volume up in order to hear you.
That wasn't for you. That was for Kendrick, not for you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you this then.
Hold on.
Okay.
I understand that you are choosing women who are not relationship material, but what I'm asking you is, why would you choose women who are not relationship material at that point in your life?
Well, because these women would come in. So I have someone who is very respectable, carrying themselves properly. But when I saw them like I saw everyone else, and once I started speaking to them, they all end up doing the same thing, regardless of how correct they came. I respect what they carry themselves. They will all do the same.
Hold on. I'm only asking how you see yourself. I don't care about what the women.
Well, how I saw myself was that if I can come across one who put up some opposition and who showed defiance to a certain point, to show me that she was different than what I was accustomed to, then I would probably be willing to take a chance.
No, I'm asking for a very specific question. Why would you?
Yeah, maybe I'm just not maybe I'm just not getting everything you're saying here. I am, trust me.
Okay. So why would you see yourself not in a relationship with her at that point in your life? Correct. So he fell out. He was disconnected, I guess. What's going on, Kendrick? So Kendrick, when you call into that number, it's not connecting you anymore?
All right. That's not connecting. It cut off on me and Reg.
That's odd. And I don't know how to bring it back in. It's not allowing me. Let's see. Very odd. This is showing me still in there.
I don't know what it happened to you.
All right, let me bring Samuel back in.
Can you?
Yeah, I hear you. You dropped out. You must have.
Apologies, I think my thumb pressed something on the phone. I didn't see myself in this relationship personally because I just didn't trust, from my experience, women. I just saw how much I didn't trust them. If I was in a relationship, I ended because the things I've seen and experienced, my trust was the main reason I was in relationship material. Because I didn't want that I would have to treat a certain way.
So
I wanted a woman who could respect. I want a woman who could respect, who respected me, and we did stuff together.
So somewhere you saw women were not trustworthy. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. And because you thought women were not trustworthy, putting yourself in a relationship, so you would just make yourself be not relationship material. You follow me on that?
Yes.
Okay. So you purposely made yourself relationship material because you lacked trust with women, and you wanted to make sure you were not relationship material, so you wouldn't have to deal with whether you can trust the woman or not. You follow me?
Now that you lost me. I was waiting on who I felt was worthy of me really getting with on a serious level.
I understand.
Okay.
In the meantime, until you met someone, you kept choosing women who you knew you couldn't trust, right?
I didn't know them again. They showed me I couldn't trust them.
Well, and you chose them because you could have told them to kick rocks, right? But
that's true, of course. But I wouldn't tell them to kick rocks if I'm not looking. I'm just going like I said, let them go.
I understand, but you continued to choose them, though.
Okay, correct? You're right. Yeah.
And you chose them because you had already presupposed you couldn't trust women anyway, unless some woman showed you something very different, and based on what you were saying, no one was showing you anything different.
No. Okay. I mean, some of them put up certain fronts and fake obstacles like they was different, and that they was different than the rest of the women, but they were all the same. They say
that doesn't take away what I just said. That's what you saw is they were not relationship material, right? Doesn't matter what the front they put on.
Okay, you're right. I'm not trying to go back on purpose. It's just, but yes, you're right.
They were not, right? And then one day you meet a woman who was relationship material.
And that's when I started learning.
What do you mean you started learning?
Because that's my first real relationship. I started learning that because I hadn't been in a relationship, I didn't know the game. Even I knew the game, but I know that a real relationship was not what you might think it is because games are still involved.
Perfect. So there are a couple of ways to look at that, right? So you can say games are still involved, and I'm going to say this. right? So whatever you practice today is what you're going to do tomorrow, right? So when I was, I think I was about 10, my mother had my brother and I take tennis lessons, and I never took tennis seriously. So you ever see a tennis court and the gate around a tennis court is a very high gate? The gate is very high, right?
Yes, I saw that just the other day. I love tennis. Go ahead.
So when I would play, I actually once accidentally hit the ball over the gate. So, you know, they hit the ball to me and I hit it so high that it went over the gate. And I just thought it was a joke. And I didn't take tennis seriously anyway. So I would hit the ball over the gate. It was all funny to me, right? Because I had no commitment to be good at it. So and I took tennis lessons. It was a group of us. So our tennis instructor set up a match with us in another part, other kids in another part. And because I kept practicing hitting the ball over the fence, what do you think happened when I got into a real game?
You continue to hit the ball over the fence, or you lost, or just wasn't as expertise as far as the other options.
Nope, I hit that sucker over the fence. And we were playing doubles, and my partner was very upset because we were going to lose. All they had to do was hit the ball to me, and I was going to hit the sucker over the fence because that's what I practiced doing. I practiced doing it the wrong way, and you know that affects your mindset, right? Even when I was ready to get serious, I never actually learned how to play tennis to win. I played tennis to.
Now I get that. Now let's say this right here. Get that. Now let's just say one of the women who chose me, I decided, hey, I'm gonna be in a relationship, and I took her seriously, and we're still new to relationships as far as serious, but I'm doing new. You know, we're exclusive and all this here. In the back of my mind, I'm saying, okay, at the same time, if I had came at her differently, I could have made her a hoe. That's what this came in, because it's like how I treat her is how she's gonna respond. If I come to her in a certain way, she could be considered relationship material. If I come to her another, it'll be obvious that she was a hoe. That's what my mindset was.
And see, do you understand why I told you the tennis story?
I think I do. I thought I did, but go ahead.
No, why do you think I told you that?
I mean, I can't say why. I'm just saying it's what you used to doing, so we had to do something differently. You wasn't used to doing it differently, so you went with what you was used to doing.
I just didn't know how to do it. Like I was gonna have to unlearn doing it the wrong way because I did it so long the wrong way. It wasn't a matter. Pretty much. It's not a matter of okay, I'm just gonna do it better now. My muscle memory, my mindset, all even when I didn't want to do it the wrong way, I had practiced doing it the wrong way so long that I was stuck with it.
Do you see where I'm coming from, though? If I meet a woman tomorrow, and we hit it off, we're talking, we're being respectable, and all of this stuff. I said, this is a nice one. She's respectable, and we're getting along, and she has class. But I also, back in my mind, if I'd have spoke differently to her, I could have in the hotel room that night. That's the conflict.
So you see now that's perfect. So when I was playing tennis, I was in conflict with myself. I knew I just wanted to hit the ball over the net and not go out of bounds, except what I practiced and what was in my mind was to hit it over the fence. And now I'm in conflict. And I lose the game. Even when I was 24, I met a woman who was she was semi-pro in tennis. And the day I met her, I said, "Oh yeah, I know how to play tennis," and I had a racket. So one day we go on a date, we play tennis. At 24, I was still hitting that sucker over the fence.
But what's your opinion on what I just said, though? What's your opinion on what I just said would be if I spoke to her a certain way, she would react a certain way, which is according to what I'm according to what I'm doing, and I might assume that she's relationship material. But at the same time, I also know if I stuck to a different way, she'd have been whole material because she
Well,
wouldn't have said. So it's
I don't,
like, what's your opinion on that?
my question is, do you even know how to pick out relationship material because you did it wrong for so long?
But that's the thing. I don't know the relationship material because it all depends on our first interaction and how I choose to interact with her. I can make it go either way. That's my conflict. Like, I don't want to be with a woman who I know I could easily make a hoe if I didn't want to be with her. And she would.
But here's what I'm saying, that you are so accustomed to hitting the ball over the fence that that's all you know. So if you met a
But I'm
woman,
saying, I'm speaking the truth though.
hold on.
I could make her a wife. I always say a wife nothing but a hoe that the husband spared. Could have went either way.
Hold on, man. You didn't even let me finish my sentence.
My mistake. You're right.
Sometimes you're not getting what I'm saying because you see what you're doing in this conversation is exactly what I'm talking about. That's it. That's how you engage women. You already know what you can do and can't do.
Now,
You broke up. Say that again.
I said, I'm trying not to cut you off. I was trying to look back and forth, but listening to you, I'm listening.
So I'm saying you've chosen the wrong woman for so long that I'm questioning whether you even have a distinction for another kind of woman.
I have a distinction, but the thing is, I have been proven wrong for the most part on that I can make them whatever I want them to be.
Because you
when
don't
face
know,
to face.
Because I don't know if you know how to choose that kind of woman.
Yeah, I'm kind of. I understand everything you're saying, but I think you understand what I'm saying. It's like when I meet a woman, I can make her however I choose for her to be.
I understand, and there are women who don't fall into that. Except I'm saying you don't know how to choose those women.
Okay.
See, you've already presupposed it can be done, that every woman cannot be trusted. You presuppose that. That has nothing to do with the woman.
Okay, let me ask you this then. We've had discussion about, my past lifestyle in the past. So
Right.
Let's take the married women. I know people don't like to talk about married women, but let's just take them again. They're married, made a vow, got children to a man who thought that he qualified her as a good, wholesome wife, when in reality, she's not. And she's showing me that, but he doesn't know. So it's like she's one way with him because she sold him a dream that he believed.
Right. Do you know who Jean-Paul Sartre is? French guy. His name is Jean-Paul Sartre.
Not offhand, though.
Okay. Sartre said once a person believes something, that they'll go out of their way to prove what they believe is right. So even if only 2% of the women won't go along with what you're saying, once you believe that 100% of the women will go along with what you tell them to do, you're like me hitting the ball over the fence in tennis.
That makes sense. I agree with that.
And so it creates a stuckness. So even when it comes to meeting that 2% of the women who don't, there's some way you interact with them that doesn't allow it to happen, or you don't even meet them.
They wouldn't even entertain the conversation to begin with.
You see, you understand what I'm saying? See, they can distinguish.
Yes,
Let me just say this: they can distinguish you and you don't distinguish them, so they walk away.
I get what.
That's what I was talking about. So let's say there was a time in your life where you were the perfect man for a relationship, and then you started to see women do things that made you believe you can't trust women. And so once you believed you couldn't trust women, you became a guy who was out to prove you couldn't trust women. So you chose women who were not relationship material, and that was proof every time. And you got to be
Okay.
right.
No, I get you now. It took me a minute, but I get you now.
And let me say this, and then you developed yourself as a man who had everything that it takes to deal with a woman who is not relationship material. You know exactly how to move her and control her and do whatever you want. And then when it comes to a woman who actually is relationship material, that you end up sabotaging it.
Well, it's like the lady said, and like you said earlier, what it was, I had a misconception of what I considered a relationship. I didn't think that I would have to come in, and I wasn't thinking about holding to the flame and all this stuff. I thought we'd be respectable adults who were honest and had the same direction we was trying to go in. That's what I had a misunderstanding, because I thought when two people really wanted to make something work, they would cut the games out. It would be respectable, and they would have discussions for common goal where they want to reach together. That's what I was lame at, because I wasn't used to relationship. My relationship mind wasn't reality.
Well, I don't know what reality is. I mean, see, you end up with a reality based on what you've seen in the past. So
My reality was, I'm sorry, go ahead.
one way or another, your past ends up shaping, right? So because you had a past where you understood the game, now you think, okay, I don't have to do certain things. It's almost like you stop being responsible for leading the relationship.
Because I was lame. I was lame, and I didn't realize it's still a game.
Let me say this. You thought the relationship was going to lead itself.
No, I thought we could be two respectable adults, don't play games, and be honest.
I understand, but someone still has to lead the relationship.
That's why I was green. You're right. I fully agree with you. You're right.
What I said is like you thought the relationship would lead itself.
No, I thought we could be together.
You could be equal.
Not say equal, but for the most part, to keep it there, because I didn't want to be like a dictator, because I didn't have the knowledge of what I was supposed to do in a relationship and how I was supposed to conduct myself.
But you don't have to be a dictator to create boundaries.
Yes, I agree with you.
Okay.
That's why at the time when I got into a relationship, I was green. I had no idea of what was that I was really supposed to be doing as far as a man.
And see, what now, do you see what you just said? You had no idea what you were supposed to do as a man, right? You get that?
In a respectable relationship, yes.
Right. Now, for me, when it came to playing tennis, I had no idea how to hit the ball to make it go over the net and stay in bounds, because I practiced hitting it over the fence. Can you see how that's the same thing?
Yes. Yeah, it made sense.
And so I end up with a bad habit that hurt me in playing tennis, and you ended up with a bad habit that hurt you in playing and being in a relationship. So I wasn't responsible for how I hit the ball over the fence, and you were not being responsible for how you conducted yourself in a relationship.
Yes, I fully agree with that.
Good. So now,
but one thing.
Here's the hardest pill to maybe swallow, and this is what I'm inviting you to look at. So, if you were not responsible for how to conduct yourself in a relationship, does that make you relationship material?
No, what I thought I was doing was trying to be fair and just be respectable.
No, I understand.
So it's like
Right.
I got punished for that.
Do you understand my question, though? You didn't answer my question.
You asked, can I understand why I'm not relationship material?
I said if you don't understand what it means to be responsible in a relationship, does that make you relationship material?
No, because you have to be in a relationship in order to understand and learn.
No, but do you understand? If you don't understand how to be responsible in a relationship, that has an impact on your ability
Yes,
to
yes.
right?
Yes, I agree with that.
So can you see that possibly what you did in playing with the wrong women is you made yourself not relationship material?
I can agree with that.
That's what I was getting at from the very beginning.
I mean, I still have some things I don't agree with, but for the most part, I get exactly what you're saying, and it makes sense.
And so I'm only saying that because if you can get crystal clear, if every man and woman, right, if they could learn that, if that could be a lesson from divorce, this is a crude way to say it. It's like once you realize you're an alcoholic, you can make choices. So once you realize you've set yourself up to not be the best relationship for relationships, then you can start doing something about that.
But in order for a man to realize what he's messing up, he has to mess up first, and then hopefully learn from what he messed up.
I don't know if that's a fact. Even though I heard you say that,
Well, you're in a relationship in order to know what mistakes that you're making.
Not everyone goes through that though. They have great relationships without going through having to mess up like that, right? So either they had a mentor, they had two parents in the house, they had
Now that I can't agree with. I don't know of any dude who was in a relationship who didn't get played or whatever before he learned that.
Yeah, there are people who haven't been in that situation. There really are.
Okay.
There are. That's what I was saying about the guy Jean-Paul Sartre. Once you believe something, you go out of your way to prove it's right. And I know there are people who haven't been in a situation where they got played and had to learn from that. There are way too many people. And there are people who are successful and did feel like they got played and things worked out in the end. But and sometimes people believe they got played by a person who was just incompetent. You follow me on that?
Yes, I get you on that.
Right. So it's not that you got played; they just didn't know what they were doing. They were incompetent, and they just didn't have the maturity to say, "I didn't know what I was doing," so they tried to just play like they didn't care or something like that. But there are a lot of people who are incompetent in relationships, and I think even reading these articles about things people learn from divorce, that's a missing thing. Right? So there's nowhere to go to relationships to learn how to be a relationship. So therefore, most people are incompetent when it comes to relationships.
I state that women are just self-destructive because you've not been a woman that I've let go, moved on from, and it's like within a couple of days, if not the same night, all of a sudden they blow my phone up. I'm sorry, I do this, I do. I'm like, you knew it was wrong doing it. So now you calling me all of a sudden the night or a few days later, apologizing. I get 50 calls a minute. So it's like if you know it was wrong now, you know it was wrong then.
But
that's like
that's incompetence, man. So
it's just stupidity, man. And I just if people know something is wrong, you call yourself in a relationship, okay, that's a whole different subject.
No, because the woman said it that she didn't understand. She was not. A lot of women are not taught consequences.
But they know games, man. People, they know they playing little stupid games.
No, I understand. They know that, but they don't believe there should be consequences.
But only time they want to stop is when you have to check them. You have to become the gorilla and all that stuff. Ain't nobody trying to do all that crazy stuff with a grown ass adult woman. And it's like why I say it's just stupid. Do stuff that they know what they shouldn't be doing, and they continue to do it. Then they say, "Oh, later on, I was wrong," but they was wrong when they was doing. But they expect the man to be the bigger man and put him in check. I ain't got time for kids. Otherwise, I have my own. If I put in check all this other stupid stuff, I don't need to be with you. You should be able to check yourself. I shouldn't have to check my woman. She should check herself. Because I know she's wrong when she's doing what she's doing.
That is
That's just my
correct.
perception. If I got to be with a woman, I got to constantly check. I don't need to be with her. A grown, mentally grown woman would check herself because she knows she's wrong. She shouldn't be doing it. It's not my place to keep correcting her. And I just can't do that.
I get you. And that's what I'll go back. That's called relationship competence. If you don't understand that certain behavior can damage the relationship and you think you can just do it because you grew up without consequences, that's called incompetence.
I just don't like stupidity. I don't like games. It's like if I asked what you wanted to eat, it didn't matter. I stopped by 10 places. None of them 10 you wanted, but it didn't matter. So I stopped asking what a broad wanted to eat. What we go is what we eat. So it was like, I feel like I'm dealing with children at all times.
What I'm saying is most people do not have relationship competence. They do so much trial and error and experimenting. People want to see what they can get away with. And that's like children. It's just like dealing with a child.
I think when men get in a relationship that men mean it. When a man says, in my opinion, nothing's absolute. I think men are way more sincere when they devote themselves to a woman than a woman is when she devotes herself to. Because a man don't come with all this stupid stuff. They don't. They don't stupid stuff. And there's something wrong with it, man. I'm just telling the truth. There's something wrong with these bras, man. I don't know what it is, but it gets to a point where I'm just out of tolerating that crap. It's like I just don't want to be bothered with you. Get in my house, do it to get the fuck on. I don't be bothered with them, man. I really don't.
Hold on now.
I didn't mean to curse, man. I apologize. I thought you said you had freedom of speech. But it's like
what I'm saying also is there may be a mindset you have that has to be checked also. So listen, I understand we live in a country that teaches women that they can do what they want when they want, and there are no consequences, and that's part of being a feminist. And I am woman, hear me roar. I understand that that's a challenge that we have, and it adds to the incompetence because they don't understand what cooperation means. I understand that.
What though, man? I want other people to get in because I want this other people. But this is how it is, right? They call me an asshole because I'm honest, whatever, cool. I'm just gonna be an asshole. I'm just gonna have to be down. Relationship come, cool. If it don't, cool. Cause drama's not invited here no more. They can either be with it, but I'm not with it. So basically, they can get the hell on. They come with them games. Cool. I'm replacing them. Because it's like I don't think a man should have to tolerate that foolishness. I don't think a man should, like I said, constantly having to check a woman in order to act right. She can just get the hell on. Seriously. So I guess I'm gonna have to be an asshole and keep hitting that ball over the fence.
And look,
I mean, this is the way I see it.
No, listen. If every man did that, you would see the games almost disappear overnight. There'd be nowhere to go. They'd be undesirable, and men would say, "Hey, this is my boundary, and you crossed it. Get out. We're done." They'd have to rethink. See, then they would understand consequences.
Well, that's just who I am, man. That's who I'm going to be. I realized that since I was a teenager. I tried to change and do the right thing, but I realized the right thing going against me didn't work out. So I'm just going to have to be, man. That's just the bottom line. I have to be me. Because I can't, I got to stay true to myself. That's why I messed up by not being me, trying to accommodate, trying to negotiate that crazy stuff, man. I just got to be me, man. Being me got me what I wanted. I mean, when I go out, man, these bro look at me like I'm a damn general. They fear and they ask, they're type of individual. But when I get up and I try to be friendly and shit, it disappears. I try to be respectable, it disappears. But before I tried to be respectful and whatever, I had problems with these bras. So I have to be me and just treat a bra like a bra need to be treated. And that's just it's that, man. That's just I'm gonna have to live to it's my time. This foolishness that these men put up with when these bras trying to check them, and
Here's the deal.
I just can't do that crap no more.
Listen, here's the deal. There's a responsibility a man has in a relationship, just like there's a responsibility men have in society. When you abandon that responsibility, there's a void, and it will get filled with something. You get that, right?
Yeah, I get you. I mean, I hear you. I don't really fully agree, but I get where you're going though.
Listen, as men, there's a responsibility we have in society, and we have a responsibility.
I think men are just told to put up with a bunch of crap.
Listen, if men understand that their part of their job is to hold people accountable, if they abandon that, then that abandoning that role creates a void, and it gets filled with something. Then it gets filled with crap. You follow me on that?
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yes.
That's what I'm saying. That's basically what I'm saying the whole time.
I look at it like this here. I'm a little life where I team to play games and check and look red flag. And,
not a game.
I mean,
as a man.
No, I mean I don't mean as a game, but that's just how it's characterized. Because anytime someone doing something, relationships are games. It's always someone who trying to play someone, but they may act like they don't, but they are.
Not if you check them. Not if
it's just like you come home and she got attitude. You say what's wrong? Nothing. I ain't got time for that crap, man. You sit here to ask you what's wrong. Let's talk about it. She talk about it. I walk away. Then she gets mad because I don't want to talk about it. It's that stuff is crazy, man.
No,
but men, we're supposed to just try to figure this stuff out.
You know what happens? You know what happens when you walk away? They learn that if they want to communicate with you, that they need to speak up and they need to be adults. If men see, that's part of.
But once again, you're getting on that 2%. Let's get to the 98% who don't learn that. You're on that 2%. Now, that 90%, they ain't trying to handle stuff in a respectable way, in a maturity way.
Well, then
keeping it real. From my point of view, these bros trying to. It's something wrong with them, man. That's just my opinion. There's something wrong with them, man.
Then
I'm just keeping them. They can call me an inside or whatever. It's something wrong with these bras, man. And it's, me, I'm just fed hell up with it, man. Yeah, I'm still gonna get with bras. I ain't gonna say the B word. I'm still gonna get with other come over and my thing, but there's something wrong with them that I don't feel I have to tolerate.
All right, I got you, man. I got you. What are your thoughts, Kendrick? We're gonna get ready to close this out.
Man, I'm sitting up here killing myself laughing to you. I know it ain't funny, but then you got to laugh to keep from crying, man.
Why do you say that?
The man said something wrong with him. I'm like, I'm just sitting back, taking it in. That's a lot for me to take in because I ain't never been married to you.
Okay.
But I'm trying not to laugh because that was funny.
Okay. All right. Last thoughts, guys. Last thoughts.
I'm gonna keep real with you, Ted. I needed that laugh.
All right.
I could all hear all I heard was broad this and broad this. So I just needed that laugh, man, on that last note.
All right. Sam,
Anybody else thought?
any last thoughts?
Well, for me, it's like we said earlier, last time I made my mistake earlier by not being me. But when I was being me, I had no problem. I'm just gonna have to be me. They can come and go. I really don't care. I just gonna, cause in the end, it's always the man that loses. The man who's still he's the bad issue according to them. I'm just tired of them, man. I'm just gonna live my life and chill, watch the show, do what I do. But I ain't studying these bras, man. I'm just keeping it real. It's something. I'm being me, man.
So what if I hold on, Kendrick, hold on. What if I said you might have to fish in a different pond, man?
Even listening to me, I don't care what this. It's just I'm just gonna be me, and I learned a long time ago. And I still believe it. I try to be different to accommodate, especially at work.
Hold on.
I'm just gonna be me.
You be yourself, but I'm saying what if there's a different pond for you to fish in?
If I meet a different pond, and different fish, I can still make do what the hell I want to do. Depending upon how I treat. I can make her a wife, a good girl, a bad girl. It's up to me. It's not up to her. She has everything in her already. It just depends on what I choose to bring out of her. I want to do it. She may tell the man she won't do it. I know she's going to do it. So it's like, I'm just tired. I'm just going to do my thing, have my fun with him, whatever. Not going to trust him.
I'm confused. Let me ask you one question before we go. If women are doing everything you want them to do, how could you be tired of them? I'm confused.
No, I said when I was being myself, they would do what I want them to do. But when I want to get in shit with them, that's when the games come in. So I was in a relationship, there was no games. I was just straight up, they were with it. Get in a relationship, then the games come into play.
Okay. Just so the thing, listen, here's what I'm gonna say. If men don't understand, so men and women are not equal. Our biochemistry is different, and our biochemistry causes us to handle a lot of things differently than women do. And women have a great appreciation, and I'll even go as far to say women depend on that. We have a greater emotional stability than women do. Women have hormones, they have biochemistry, they have periods. They react to things very differently than men. Women are more likely to report risk. And if men understand that, and it's not even that it's a game she's playing, right? Women do not generally take the kinds of risks that we do, and women worry about things. Women have more anxiety, more depression. They're 3.5 times more likely to attempt suicide, failed attempts for suicide. So women
that means they were trying to kill themselves. They were faking.
Women are more worried about a lot more things than men. And when you add that the feminists convince them that men are just going to control and dominate you, they're in conflict with themselves. So there's a role that men play where you're going to have to support them in managing that conflict.
I call it crazy.
Okay.
No, I mean, I'm just being real with you, man. I mean, one thing about, I'm very respectable to you, but I call it what it is, man. It's craziness.
Okay.
And it's like, we supposed to do this as a man. We're supposed to post that. What are we? We supposed to do every damn thing. What the hell they supposed to do? They can't control their damn selves. We're supposed to control them too. We're supposed to control the household. We're supposed to control the home. We're supposed to control everything. Control of everything. Control children. What the hell they control? They can't control their damn self.
And there's where part of the problem starts, because guys are not putting real expectations on women.
Well, I'm saying guys who do all of that still in the end. Guys who do everything we're talking about still get played in. They still get divorced. They still get locked up because she got mad and said he hit me. It's all it takes. She tells a lie. Now he's gone, lost his job, he lost his children because she got mad, caught 911 a lie. It's like, at what point? It's like, I just personally feel that me as a man should have to put up with none of that stuff anymore, man. It's like, I'm just not tolerating the foolishness, the attitudes, the crybaby stuff, periods, whatever you want to call it, biological stuff. It's aggravating, man. So I'm just going to, just like I said, let them come in. If I decide one day that I'm not married again, I'm not letting one move in again. If I decide this is be in a so-called relationship with someone cool, if not cool, it is what it is, man. I'm just not tolerating that crap no more, man. Unless she's 100%, what the hell I tell her to do, check herself, know what the hell she's supposed to do and do it. Because I ain't trying to check nobody. Like I said, she know what she's a grown-ass woman. I try to check no grown woman how to carry her. and I'm not going to. And that's what I think men need to do, because men, I'm just tired, man. I do apologize. I'm just saying.
Hold on. As soon as you expect women to think like men, you're gonna be tired.
No, of course not. Come on, let's not go there. I'm just saying, the grown adults who are raised, and most of the youth we have, especially the men, they're still grown. They're not dumb. They know what the hell they're doing. When they go, like a woman go out a certain way, she dressed that way for a reason. She know what kind of response she's looking to get. Nothing is done by accident. It's all on purpose. They know what they're doing. And this is men to be, well, you supposed to, I ain't got to do a damn thing for them. I'm gonna let them know that. So they can get along. The one who stay understands everything that I'm about, and I don't have to check her. She gonna check herself, and she gonna get the hell on.
Okay.
So it's like,
no,
I'm just keeping real. I'm not gonna cater to these bras no more. I mean, it's like, got a flat tire. Oh well, it's not my problem. So it's like, I'm gonna treat them like an adult. I see them as children, but I'm not gonna treat them as children. If you don't act like an adult, get the hell on. You know, it's just that simple. And I don't think I'm gonna have any more problems, because I haven't had none in a while now. Only time I have problems, once again, when I try to be considerate and all that other stuff. I'm not doing that stuff no more, man, because not doing that is what has worked for me. What not doing that is what makes her bring her friend, knock on my door, want to come in and spend the night, want to sit here and cook and clean. I know dudes that got wives don't cook and clean, don't do shit, but they married. But me, I just met this bro, and she doing whatever I tell her. So it's like, I'm going to just stick with what works for me, man. That's what I got to keep hitting the ball over the fence. I got to stick with what works for me. That's my gift. I got to stick with that.
Listen, I never discourage you from being yourself.
No, I'm not saying you, but I'm really saying it to myself. I just got to be me, because when I try to do differently, it's a problem.
All right, time out. Kendrick, what were you going to say?
His point of view, Ted, his is the number one thing that I hear a lot of the so-called value control. They looking for that woman to already know what she's supposed to be bringing to the table, Ted. Them the exact same females he talking about. And I believe they starting to become
Well, a lot of women don't know what to do because they're not taught. As little boys, we're told all the things that we're supposed to do. No one's teaching little girls that. They teach little girls that boys only want one thing. And so she believes that's all she has to bring. What do we think? And look, part of the problem is too many fathers are raising their daughters to believe men only want one thing. That's a problem.
Oh yeah. Now that's true. That's true, Ted.
Fathers are not checking their daughters, so then as a man, you end up having to. Hey, Samuel, one of the things that I tell a woman very, very early on, I tell women I'm not a nice guy. If you're looking for me to put my best foot forward, I don't own one, and I'm never going to put a best foot forward because I have no interest in being a nice guy or even trying to show you that I am. I'm telling you up front, I'm not a nice guy. So you need to make a decision right now. If you want to walk, I understand. I tell them that very early on. And most women say, well, nice guys never make it with me. I don't like nice guys anyway. And I tell them all. Only one woman got upset with me and said, well, it doesn't make sense for me to talk to you anymore. And she blocked me. But then I ended up talking to her later anyway. So I have no interest in being nice. And that way, somewhere down the line where we get into this conflict and I'm very straight and direct and she says, that wasn't nice to say, I tell her, I told you up front, I'm not a nice guy. So you decided to stay with the man who warned you up front. So you need to make a decision what you want to do going forward. So I let that be known up front. Samuel, right up front.
I'm the same way, Ted.
Okay. So I kill those things off up front, Samuel, from the very, very beginning.
Oh yes, that's why we talked about holding to the flame. That's what I'm saying. We talked about that numerous times.
No, I'm not holding it to the front flame. I'm telling
Know what I
you.
mean by holding to the flame, putting everything out there, make sure you qualify her, make sure there's no misunderstanding on anything.
Okay.
You put it out there up front.
Then that should be a lesson for all men to learn. That should be
Right.
maybe one of the top three things for men to learn from divorce. The number one is choose a woman who's really compatible with you, right? You're upfront about what your boundaries and your demands are right up front. If you're not doing those top two things, then you didn't learn anything from your divorce.
But see what you just said about putting it off. That's what I did when I was young. I put up what I wanted from her. I wanted her to do it. But then you said that made me not relationship material. Because I would tell them exactly what the hell I expect from them, and they would do it.
Nope, never. I never said that. I just said
no.
Choosing women.
No, what I'm saying was that I got a lot of women when I was in what they call an asshole, and I don't know exactly where I stand from, and what I expect them to do. They did it, but I didn't think I would have to do that in my relationship. I thought as two adults, I was younger, we should be able to just be two adults and mentally civilized. But I realized I still got to be the same way in the so-called serious relationship that I am in the non-serious relationship. I got to just treat them the way I treat them.
No, it's not. No, listen. When two people, if you accept everything that she can and can't do with you, then you're being unrealistic. You just are. I mean, if she's done certain things with men and no man ever said anything, how the hell does she know the difference when she gets to you? So you're responsible for
That's a good point.
You are responsible for what you accept and the boundaries that exist in relationships.
Okay.
And if you don't do that, you're not being an adult.
Let me ask you this right here. Now, we all know that women like excitement, right?
I don't know.
We know women like excitement. They like something that's different. But from my observation, women like excitement. They like something that's different. They don't want what used to seem.
I don't date those women that you're talking about.
No, I don't mean by what I'm saying is that women are attracted to.
I don't. I don't know about that. I don't.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that. I get that. But what I'm saying is like women, from my observations, are attracted to not the norm, something that is that unpredictability. How many women gonna tell their husband or the man they're serious with something wild that she wants to do? They're not gonna do. They're gonna hold that stuff in, and more stuff and more stuff. I'm just gonna have to treat what I'm gonna have to do if I do get serious again. Is still treat like I tell the bras because I know that stuff that she's not telling me, I'm telling another man about. So you might as well tell it to me. That's gonna get out in the open, make this shit happen. So it's like her fantasies and all this stuff that's making her feel a certain kind of way because she's not getting it and she wants it. I'm just gonna put it out there. You know, I need to understand everything because, like I said, whatever she wants to do, I'm gonna go ahead and get that shit up out of her. We're gonna talk about it and we're gonna make that shit happen if I choose. But women they not gonna tell you more than half of anything that's real on their mind they really want to do. Because out of respect, they don't want you to see them as a hoe. They gonna tell you a lot of times the way they want you to they want to be when it's really not true. That's why I don't believe they say because they lie to us and themselves.
I understand. And here's the deal. As a man, that's your job to lead communication. And if she's not compatible when it comes to communication, then you know what she is. See, this is why compatibility is number one.
But how can you be compatible with someone who's faking it? They're faking compatibility. But
listen,
I'm saying they telling they faking it with one man, but giving the truth to another man.
Listen, if you don't know how to read that, then you deserve to be.
I ain't saying I can't read it. That's the make it because I can read it. That's what I'm saying. I can read it. That's what I'm saying. So when a man that they're compatible, she's letting him think they're compatible, but he doesn't know the real. She's been lying to him for a long time. The woman he thinks he knows is not who he thinks he knows.
He's irresponsible. He didn't hold his end of the bargain of the relationship.
All I'm saying is that women ain't gonna be honest with you if they think you respect them.
Listen,
They don't, cause
integrity is a big deal, right? And you need to be able to smoke that out. And if you don't know how to do that, then you get what you see. This is what I'm getting at. This is a huge role of responsibility. You don't just open the door for anyone. A woman who lacks integrity, why the hell are you opening the door for her? You need to be able to get to that quickly.
no, they got that. I'm just saying they still gonna lie to their man who respects them because they don't want him to know the other side of her.
Right,
Gonna keep that a secret.
Man who doesn't know how to smoke out certain things, then you get what you
okay.
You get what you get. So this is called relationship competency. See, this is why you have the right to ask any question you want. And then you need to see if listen, everyone speaks a language, right? So you can only fake for so long.
My point to you.
That's the subject we had about a while back about inviting others to the room. How many women are going to tell their men they're interested in that? How many men who are scary as hell tell their women they're interested in that? Even though it's like people just lie to each other all the time. No one's really just being 100% honest. They just living out loud. You know, most men are afraid to tell their woman what they really want to do. And most women damn sure will tell their man what she really wants to do.
Hey,
so it's like if I was a bad boy, they would tell me. And I would get both sides. But he just got one side.
Samuel,
the whole thing to me is off a bunch of fake falsehoods, man. Everybody's lying to each other. I ain't never you the daddy, but he's not the daddy.
Man, hold on.
The whole thing is just
Hold on, Sam. Let me just think. From where I'm sitting, 98% of women will tell you they're open to that. 98% from where I'm sitting.
All right, let's do it on how many men women have told them they want to do three ways, who they married to, or the serious relationship.
That he's incompetent. He gets what he gets. He deserves it because of his incompetence. This is what I'm going to keep. If you as a man are incompetent, then you get what you get.
The average man will go home and tell his main woman or his wife he wants to have a three-way, even though he wants to. He's afraid. He's not going to say to her. That's an example.
Then if he's got fear, he gets what he gets. You're incompetent. You're irresponsible. That's
no, why? Because she told him a lie that she was a respectable woman. That's why he's afraid to tell her.
So then he's not being a man. And he gets what he gets for not being a man.
I agree with that. I fully agree with that. I fully agree. That's what I'm saying. A lot of people just being fake with each other. In my opinion, relationships nowadays are fake. They're just fake. They're all fake. You know, not all. I'm sorry. I didn't mean the word often as all. But people are 100% honest. Everyone's selling a lie. He go buy this fancy car so he can get her attention. And she's only with him because it got nothing to do with him. But she's acting like it's because of him. I mean, everything is just false. To the point where real people are just catching hell for being real, in my opinion.
The people who are fake do a good job of finding one another.
I don't mean to take up. I get long-winded, man. My apologies on that.
Did you hear what I just said? People who are fake.
I heard the people that are fake, and it kind of crackled, and I heard other.
People who are fake do a great job of finding one another. They're good at finding. Two fake people can find one another.
Well, we must be a lot of them people because I spoke to the people who claim who on the outside be happily married and whatever the case may be. But I speak to the dude one-on-one. He is tired of her. He's with her, but it's like I don't know negative and so-called couples and marriages and
he got what he deserved. He got exactly what he was.
I'm just speaking in general.
One-on-one with every man.
They're not happy.
Every man is going to get what he's qualified for, and if he's complaining, he's wasting his time. Because if he wanted something better, he should have been a better man.
I agree with it, but once again, a lot of men are brainwashed into think a certain way.
No. Why do you think I'm being so blunt and direct about this? a man who has incompetent relationship skills will only be able to get a woman with incompetent relationship skills, and they deserve one another. That's it. That's it.
I understand, but that's why I was saying when I was real 100%, I had no problems.
Okay. And keep doing
But
what
them same women you said were not relationship material. So when I stopped being real and got relationship material, it's somebody being real with them who what I'm not getting.
because you're not being a man in a relationship.
So that means none of them are relationship material if they'll all do whatever you want them to do, depending upon who they're speaking to.
Hey man, look. You keep saying the same thing, man. I got it. We already addressed it. You're gonna have to be responsible as a man. That's it. There's no way around that.
Okay, you're right. I agree with that. 40%. I fully agree with that. That's why I said, well, I'm gonna say I'm just gonna be me, like I've been doing for a while now.
I got you.
Because I realize no problems when I do that.
That is a lesson for men. Develop yourself. This is why we talk so much about a man developing himself, his own mindset. And women will know the difference if you want to be with women. And I don't care if you deal with or you go abroad. A woman is still going to be a woman. A woman's brain works the same no matter where you go in the world.
Oh yeah, thank you. I'm glad you said that. That's why I'm tired of hearing about this foreign stuff. Foreign women, they still women. They can front like any other woman front. It don't matter where they from. They still woman. Regardless of their upbringing, their nature gonna be the same.
Different species. No nature over there. The men running things over there.
The man may be running it, but the woman's nature versus her actions, her nature is still the same.
You say that.
I think what he's saying is the men create boundaries for the women to operate.
I understand. That goes towards their actions. I'm speaking of their nature.
Yeah, but their nature ain't showing surface over there. Them women get their head cut off overseas somewhere.
I mean, I understand what you're saying, but personally, I just feel I just see it women worldwide as being the same. That's just how I see it. Some of them front differently, they act differently. I think when it all boils down to it, they all the same. That's just me.
I had to agree to disagree, but anyhow.
So if a man doesn't create boundaries, you're gonna have problems. Just start.
Real talk to you.
Even with innocent people, you still want to have boundaries. You want to have those conversations up front because no one knows who you are when they come in your life. Even if they've known you for 2 or 3 years, you still need to have certain conversations up front, and they understand how you are. It's not about thinking someone's innocent or guilty. It's like, hey, this is who I am. This is how I want to be in a relationship, and you deal with that. Great.
Okay, let's look at relationships in this country. How are they doing?
They're failing.
Now, how are they doing in other countries? Are they not in the other countries too?
Not at the rate that
marriage is high.
Yeah, of course not. I mean,
some countries.
I mean, yeah, not at the rate, but it's still the failure rate is getting higher and higher around the world. You can be China, whatever.
I don't believe it.
It's
well,
all I'm saying is that
listen,
we can look at what's going on.
And I'll be pompous. I'm okay with being pompous. Someone said I think that's pompous. If you merge two corporations, those corporations have policies, and whatever policies. So if I'm the company ABC and I'm buying company 123, 123 may have policies that don't work in my company, and if you call it pompous, but we're merging. So either we're going to have to create an entirely new culture with new policies, but the only way to do that is if I tell you what my policies are, and you tell me what yours are, and we come together and we create something. But if I don't speak up and say what they are, I'm going to end up in a situation I don't want to be in. And if a man doesn't speak up and say, here's what I'm concerned, here's what I want. And I was reading about a guy who, you guys have feedback, one of you, I don't know if you can, but I was reading the guy who wrote an article about lessons he learned from a divorce. And his really at the end, he tells you indirectly is that he never really stood up. He compromised a lot. And his wife ends up being, he had 2 marriages where it was out of control. So yeah, it's
I
not
just
about
think,
forgiveness.
I
Hold
think
on.
generally speaking, sorry, go ahead.
It's not about forgiveness. It's about helping people understand. Here's where, if we're in an exclusive relationship and that person has never experienced that, you need to have that conversation up front. The way someone speaks to you, it's like, hey, you may have spoken to other guys like that. I find that unacceptable. The person needs to understand that. It's not about forgiveness or not forgiving them. It's about helping people understand. People, you train people how to deal with you. And if you don't do that, then they're going to do whatever they think is okay. And they'll push a little bit further and a little bit further. It's not about being good or bad or innocent or guilty. It's helping people understand what you want in a healthy relationship. Now, if that's pompous, I'll take it. I'll be pompous. I'll be an asshole and arrogant and anything else. Except, you see, this is my life, and I have a right to choose who I allow in my life. And I have no obligation to invite just anyone into my life. And when I invite them in, they need to understand the rules of engagement for me, just as I need to understand them for them. And men who are not doing that are paying a price.
Yes, and that's what I've learned over the years. Like I said, when I was younger, going through my falls and what I call being played and just understand nature. That's why I'm at. That's why I'm at where I'm at now. It's like I fully understand all of that. I don't fully understand anything, but I have a much better understanding of it. But mainly just to be myself and trying to, just depending upon the situation and all of that, just be myself.
But there's a level of leadership that men are responsible for. If you avoid that level of leadership, you're going to pay a price, like it or not. And you may feel like that's too much pressure for a man to have to do it and be in a relationship. Kendrick, you have too much background. Yeah. Hey, Ed. See, I don't know if it's about modern day relationships because human behavior has not changed. Human beings are still human beings. All we did was stop putting boundaries in place, and so we call it modern day. But when people don't understand boundaries, rules of engagement, they just do whatever they want to do, and that's where we are now. And so as men, if we are not, men built, maintain, and protect civilizations, and there's a responsibility that comes with that. That's holding people accountable. You can't expect women to play the same role. You just can't.
Oh, I fully agree with that.
And let me say this: I don't buy this modern day relationship. Because human beings, as a human being, the way human beings think and function, that has not changed. Not for thousands of years. It's been the same. So trying to say it's new is like, see, yeah, Ed, you're saying the same thing that Samuel is saying, that he thought it was just going to all work out. It just doesn't, man. Relationships don't lead themselves. Like, people are not just going to magically, this is not Walt Disney. People don't magically come together and everything just works right. I mean, it works like that in Hollywood and fairy tales, but it's never worked that way, ever. This is not about modern. It's never worked that way. And relationships haven't changed. People still demand, they want to be treated well. They eat, sleep, go to the bathroom. People still want to have sex. They want to have children. Relationships have not changed. People are trying to say they have, but technically, if you look at the United States, we are very much a traditional country. Our culture is traditionalism. And
I think the mindset has changed drastically.
Listen, if I'm telling you, if you get in a relationship and say, hey, here's how this is going to work.
No, I agree with you. I agree with that. I'm just saying that the mindset has changed drastically. I understand what you're saying ain't changed, but the mindset, from my opinion, has changed drastically because these younger men growing up and these women growing up and these illusions and all media brainwashing and media hype and song, everything that they feed themselves, the mindset is just exploded. There's no direct. It's all just like you say, fairy tales. It's all just a bunch of bull that they believe, and it's just self-destruct.
Yeah, that's because we stopped putting up some accountability and boundaries. So now we're all out of bounds.
I agree, but you put up accountability and boundaries. A woman can have her husband locked up because he raised his voice. Consider verbal abuse. She can call 911 on her husband because he raised his voice and have him locked up in his own home.
Yeah. I mean, if that's happened, then hey.
No, seriously. Man can raise his voice and locked up.
Men need to start taking more drastic measures and being smarter about the doors they open for women. Period.
Like, I remember when, back when I was still married, she was doing some dumb stuff, and I was talking to her. She told me, "You attacking me." I'm like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Attacking you?" I'm talking to her. She said, "I'm attacking her." I knew right then. It's like, goodness gracious, man, this is ridiculous. This is crazy. You can't even have a conversation without saying you attacking or you shaming or you bashing. The whole thing is just crazy.
That's why I tell women I'm not a nice guy up front. She needs to make a decision right at the beginning how she wants to move forward.
But she made that decision, but you know that she just ain't fronting. She can front for a while, and you still end up in hell.
No one can. Absolutely, and I'm responding to someone else. You can't control anyone. You can't even control yourself. You can't even control what you think. So, yes, control is an illusion. And yes, you allow things to play out. However, you still need to put some boundaries up front. And people need to have a better criteria for understanding compatibility.
Ted, I understand what you're saying, but I'm telling you, you can go out. I remember when I was in the 80s, I used to be in the grocery store with my mama. If I just saw like 1 centimeter of her panties, I was happy. The very top of the line, very top of her panties. I can go out now and see the whole ass. I can see everything. Times are different now, man. The mindset is completely different.
I got it. And they've been wearing thongs in Brazil for decades. And so, look, you got to stop trying to give people these exceptions, man. If men don't say, here's how relationships work, men need to do that in unison.
I agree with you. Well, he's talking about men. We got to focus on the youngest. We're nowadays in 50s and on up. The younger men are not get that.
The young men are going to follow the same path that you put in front of them.
These young men out here are messed up. I'm not saying all. It's who got a mindset, but from my point of view, manhood is pretty much with the newer generation in the United States becoming obsolete.
Then men are going to have to bring manhood back then. And if the older guys don't bring it back, it won't come back. And on that note, that needs to be the number one lesson for men to learn from divorce, is to bring manhood back. And it's only the older cats who are going to bring it back. You cannot keep, for generations, they keep saying the young people will do it, and that hasn't worked. It keeps going lower and lower. So it's on us, all of us. Guys, thank you. This conversation became a little bit more animated. It went in a direction I didn't anticipate, but it was really good. So I always appreciate you guys getting into this straight talk with me on Sundays. And yeah, there are lessons to learn from divorce. And there are boundaries that men are going to have to put in place, because if we don't, no one else will. So guys, like this video. If you haven't smashed that thumbs up button, smash it. Love your comments. It adds to a very great and lively and interactive conversation. Share this video. Men need to hear that it really comes down to us. We built the society, we maintain it, and we protect it with the military. So it is us who have to create all the accountability. If women want to partner with us and make responsible, accountable decisions, that's fine. But outside of that, it's us. So guys, thanks for joining me in my provocative conversation. I hope you got something out of it. And I'll see you guys next week. Until then, take care. Goodbye. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.